values and interests and goals, there are more opportunities ahead of us than I think there ever have been before.
Meeting with several companies who are investing in or looking to invest in Indiana. One company, he says, is planning to set up shop at Purdue's Discovery Park to make computer chips. Holcomb is also meeting in South Korea later this week with companies that make batteries for electric cars. 3 people killed in Indianapolis over the weekend in separate shootings. One of the shootings was a robbery at a gas station downtown Sunday. The person being robbed pulled a gun on the robbers.
He was armed and defended himself and fired shots, and there was a shootout inside the store between the potential victim of the robbery, and some potential robbers.
IMPD Assistant Chief Chris Bailey, another person shot at an apartment complex on the east side Sunday. Then Saturday, another person was shot and killed at a home on the west side. An arrest has been made in the shooting and killing of a teenager near Ball State Saturday. John Herrick reports.
Police believe it was Malik Williams who shot and killed Keandre Johnson near the campus. They say they tracked Williams down Saturday afternoon and arrested him. Now he's facing a preliminary charge of murder. Williams is 21 years old. Johnson was just 19. John Herrick, 93, WIBC Mobile News.
First pitch at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Indiana's Little League team from Hagerstown is back in action at the Little League World Series. They'll be taking on Tennessee today. Traffic on the 5s, Matt Bear.
All right, Curry, interstates are looking pretty good right now. Reminder, Hendricks County, I-70 between 267 and Rattle Dragon Parkway. Work starts today for a couple of weeks. They are going to be striping and doing some maintenance. And we'll have at least 2 lanes going at one time, but you can expect congestion, especially as the afternoon ramps up. Traffic sponsored by Weaver Popcorn. The pop abilities are endless at Weaver Popcorn. They're hiring for entry-level and experienced roles in case packing, maintenance, and engineering. Visit workatweaver.com to apply today. I'm Matt Bear with traffic on the 5s. Follow us on Twitter at WIBC Traffic.
Tamara Nigel here for friends at Window Nation. Back to school time is here, and Window Nation can help you get an A+ in savings right now. Get 2 free windows with every 2 you buy and pay nothing until 2025. As the temperatures soar, so do your energy bills with old, inefficient windows. Stay cool, lower those bills, and raise the value of your home with new Energy Star efficient windows.
Window Nation has expertly installed over 1 million windows, rewarding and increasing value in over 150,000 homes, all with over 96% needing no follow-up service. That is an A+. Get 2 free windows with every 2 that you buy. Buy 4, get 4 for free. There's no limit. Plus, make no down payment, no payments, no interest until 2025. You'll save big during Window Nation's back-to-school sale. 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com. 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
The forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Watch out for some patchy areas of fog this morning. Otherwise, partly cloudy. Really nice this afternoon. Today's high 81. Clear and comfortably cool overnight. Tonight, a low down to 60. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
67 and cloudy, some patchy fog out there. I'm Kurt Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
The Republican Party in Indiana sees zero problem in record spending, in record taxation.
And Casey Daniels.
You went out there and said, please vote for me. You've debated other people on why you're the better person for the position. Suck it up.
This is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Monday, August 22nd, and things that are trending this hour. Kyle Rittenhouse. He claims to be suing Joe Biden because he, quote, defamed his character by calling him a white supremacist. Also trending, Ralph Lauren. Jennifer Lopez wore a Ralph Lauren gown for her second wedding to Ben Affleck. And also trending, Silly Putty. Does anybody remember using this to copy pictures from the comic strips? And what was that called? Somebody remembered that, posted it online, and now it has taken off. Did you ever do that, Rob?
Did I do what?
Take your silly putty and lay it down on the comics of the newspaper so
I don't
you
ever
can get a copy of it?
I don't ever recall, because I was not born in the 30s, ever having silly putty. No, I don't know what
Do you recall newspapers?
I don't know what you kids did in the 60s, but I never recall having silly putty.
Okay, it's 7 minutes after 9. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC, and let's talk about polling. There was a new poll that came out from NBC News. Was yesterday better than today? How about tomorrow? Well, according to this poll, nearly 3/4 of voters said they believe that things in the U.S. are headed in the wrong direction. Almost half of the voters reported having a somewhat negative or very negative feeling towards the president.
All right, so before we get into this, I did want to point out it was an NBC poll, and a random, confused, very likely accidental act of truth broke out on Meet the Press yesterday, and I thought Chuck Todd had a pretty good synopsis of it. Take a listen.
And a good Sunday morning to all of you. We are less than 3 months before the midterms, and our brand new NBC News poll paints a pretty bleak picture. Americans are angry, they're disappointed, and they are worried about the future of this country. Just 21% of adults say we are headed in the right direction, and once again, 3 out of 4 Americans say we are on the wrong track. In fact, this number, never before in our poll has this wrong track number been over 70% for this long. It's been nearly a year now. 58%, by the way, say America's best years are behind us. That's an all-time high in our poll.
So the reason I wanted to lead with this is because, and I really, really, really like Craig Collins, who fills in for Tony Katz, and was filling in for Tony today.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about this as well. And I feel like he did not point this out, though, which is that he was talking about the polling and how the polling has tightened. No, wait, it was not Craig Collins. I totally take that back. It was someone else who was talking about this. I'm sorry. Sorry, Craig Collins. You're beautiful, amazing, and talented, and we love when you fill in for Tony. It was somebody else. Anyway, they totally missed the point on this, and I said, we have to talk about this because people in conservative media are missing the boat on this because they were talking at length about the tightening poll numbers, and they were trying to say, oh, abortion is factoring in, and even conservative media is buying into this. And it is, you can either accept the fact that none of this makes any sense, or you're being manipulated. Because the polling right now is saying, oh, well, Democrats are really tightening up with the Republicans. It's really even. Wow, the Republicans might not even take the House of Representatives. America is infatuated with Joe Biden all over again. It's Camelot 2.0. And yet every poll, including this one, tells you it's not like, yeah, 55% of Americans are concerned about the direction of the country. 75%. That's all the Republicans and all the independents and Democrats.
Everybody.
So you can either believe, oh, yeah, abortion is such a hot button topic that people are going to, in droves and in anger, vote because some Republicans have said you can't suck the brains out of a defenseless fetus like you could before. Or you can say people are telling you in the actual poll everything sucks. Why would you vote for the people who have enacted the government that you're saying everything is no good?
Right, exactly. And how is it that Joe Biden's approval ratings have ticked up a point or two?
But then this is the point. So because people read a headline and they go, oh my gosh, Inflation Reduction Act. Oh, the rich are finally going to pay their fair share.
Good times are on the way.
It's the same thing that happens every time they pass one of these bills because the media, especially when it is a grow government bill. Now, heaven forbid you pass a tax reform bill of some sort, then you get, just the hell beat out of you. But the point is, remember, a great example, infrastructure bill last year. Oh my gosh, the sidewalks will be paved in gold and every road will be the yellow brick road and it'll be a utopian existence. Has anybody's life changed at all because of that infrastructure bill? No. So when they passed that, oh my gosh, bipartisanship. Everybody's working together. Todd Young and Pete Buttigieg teaming up and holding hands and skipping through the street. Yay! And what happened? Nothing. Because government never makes anyone's life better, ever, never, ever, ever, never. And so a week from now, when nobody's life changes and prices don't get any better and nothing improves in their existence, people will go back to, well, everything sucks. The polling now is voter manipulation, and I start getting really concerned, and I wish I could remember which media outlet this was. And again, I totally apologize to Craig Collins because I was listening to him and some other people on the drive-in this morning. When they start buying the bull crap about, oh, the polls are really tightening, then it's working. This is why the media does this. There is no possible way that every poll under the sun could say people are brutally unhappy with the existence in this country and yet believe, oh, but they're going to vote for the same people that made them brutally unhappy.
Do you think that people are believing the Inflation Reduction Act, as you know, it's been said, it's going to start impacting immediately? Do you think people are reading those headlines and believing it?
I think people are apathetic and easily manipulated. So I think when they read something because they don't know the pathological liars that are lying to them, and oftentimes it's just a headline. Most people don't go
into the article
past the headline.
Yeah.
And so there is a moment, like I said, where people will go, oh my gosh, Inflation Reduction Act, Congress finally did something. And then 2 weeks from now, when the price of beef goes up again, they're going to say, well, wait a second. Here's the deal. So again, random, confused, accidental act of journalism taking place over the weekend from CNN. They had Bernie Sanders on.
Mm-hmm.
And they straight up asked Bernie Sanders, are you going to support Manchin? Are you going to support Biden? Same guy, doesn't matter. Are you going to support Biden in 2024? Listen to this.
Do you want to see President Biden, Senator, run for a second term?
Well, what I want to see right now is that the Congress of the United States, working with President Biden next year, develop an agenda that says to working families and the elderly and the kids, we understand your pain and that we have the guts to take on the big money interest at a time when we have more income and wealth inequality than any other major country on earth. You know, Wolf, you've heard me say this again, and I think recent events point this out. This country is moving toward an oligarchic form of society where you got three people on top who own more wealth than the bottom half of American society. You got three Wall Street firms that have control assets of over $20 trillion. That's the GDP of the United States. Unbelievable wealth and power at the top, while the middle class is in decline and lower income people are really suffering. We need to work right now, next year, with President Biden on an agenda that addresses those issues.
Well, let me rephrase the question. Do you want to see him run for re-election?
Look, right now my concern is electing more Democrats in this midterm election so we can finally address the needs of working families. That's where my mind is right now.
So to quote a line from the Eagles, you can't hide your lion eyes, right? If everything was great and America was falling in love with the Democrats all over again, and it's going to be Democratapalooza this fall, how is it possible that Bernie Sanders will not even commit to publicly supporting the president who has created this utopian environment in which everybody loves the Democrats again and is super excited? And how is it possible that he's telling us all these things that suck in America when his party is in charge of everything?
Right. He's sitting there saying, if everything's so great, then why isn't everybody, yes, I'm going to vote for Biden. We want him to run again. So there are 43 competitive House races and 7 Senate races. And the White House thinks that it can gain in the Senate despite expected losses in the House. Okay. Biden's going to speak at the Democratic National Committee event that happens on Thursday. It's his first political rally in months, and it's supposed to serve as the kickoff to the midterm push. And we'll see how it goes. Do you think he'll get booed? Boo! Probably not if it's the Democratic National Committee. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. And Rob, you got some big money this weekend, huh?
Oh, yes. I'm swimming in cash.
I bet you are.
Not nearly as much cash as I should be swimming in, but I'm swimming in it.
Okay, well, we'll get to that coming up from 93 WIBC.
When traffic's a bear, Matt Bear is a beast.
On the north side, 465 East is a parking lot for Meridian. Also, we have slow traffic from 82nd Street all the way up to 860.
When you need to get from here,
if you're coming in from Hamilton County, it's going to be tough
to there.
Into bridge construction at 465 and 60.
Matt Bear, mornings and afternoons.
It's going to be tough getting home tonight, but you'll be binge watching Stranger Things before too long.
93 WIBC.
At Diamonds Direct, nobody tells our story better than our own associates.
I hear from customers that come in how shocked they are. They're able to, only with Diamonds Direct, afford a diamond that they never in their wildest dreams thought they'd be able to get.
People are just thrilled with what we offer.
I have exponentially more to choose from. The resources that we have away from our wholesale roots, really untouchable.
When you come here to Diamonds Direct, you know it's something special. You know it's something that is one of a kind, and you got that at such a phenomenal value.
To be a jeweler and have this kind of firepower, we have all these mountings, all this selection, all these diamonds, and incredible prices is just unmatched.
And I think our customers appreciate that we are so open and honest about every part of this process.
What they're surprised by is the extent that we go to provide an unparalleled, luxurious shopping experience.
This company has a 60-year heritage in diamond cutting, diamond mining, diamond wholesaling. So there's no possible way to get any closer to the source than with Diamonds Direct.
We won't be undersold.
Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion. DiamondsDirect.com.
What does Hancock Health's membership in the Mayo Clinic Care Network mean for you? It means our independent health network now has access to the knowledge and resources of the world leader in medicine. It means your Hancock Health doctor can now consult with Mayo Clinic specialists to confirm a diagnosis or treatment plan. And it means that together, we're making health possible for you. Learn more about our new clinical collaboration at hancockregional.org/Mayo Clinic.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly. Mortgage rates are down and home equity is up. If you've been thinking about a refinance, now's the perfect time. Our average client received over $54,000 with a simple cash-out refinance. And I can structure that loan where you can miss a few months of mortgage payments. Now that should put you on the path to financial freedom. How much can you save? Let's find out today. Start online at thehomeloanexpert.com, home of the 10-day closing guarantee.
The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
The 9th Annual Indie Labor Fest is September 3rd on Monument Circle. An admission-free street festival with live music, beer from Sun King Brewing, food trucks, a kid zone, and most importantly, a chance to learn about lifelong career opportunities. Hosted by the labor unions of Central Indiana.
I'm Trent Todd, business representative for Sheet Metal Workers Local 20. Come celebrate organized labor's dedication and contributions throughout the Hoosier State. More information at IndieLaborFest.org. Union membership, community leadership.
This is Joe Cordell. In other ads, I've talked about the weighty matters that are on the table in divorce: assets, debts, spousal support, and of course, children. But here I want to talk to you about a troublesome issue that arises early and often in the divorce process, but which attorneys, including myself, say too little about, and that's the cost of a divorce. Yet as important as this factor is, it shouldn't overwhelm the more deserving issues that are raised by divorce. But here are just a few things that Cordell & Cordell is doing to help. We have now reduced our initial deposit or retainer. Also, there's no longer a charge for initial consultations for those who retain. And finally, we now provide on the front end a maximum fee pledge for certain modification and support matters. The bottom line is that to be a partner men can count on, we have to think about all their needs, and attorney fees are no exception.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Indianapolis area attorneys. 101 West Ohio Street, Suite 1100, Indianapolis, Indiana 46204.
Hammer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
He's a criminal, that's who he is. A vigilante, a public menace.
And Casey Daniels.
Wow, she's an angel.
On 93 WIBC.
You can't hide your light. Our producer's taking requests. That's beautiful.
One of the 20 greatest songs ever written.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC, and in the race to replace the late Congresswoman Jackie Walorski, the precinct committeemen overwhelmingly chose Rudy Yakum. He was the Congresswoman's former campaign finance director. He won with 55% of the vote.
Okay, so it is very rare that I am ever wrong. And in this case, I was wrong in the sense of I thought he had a very good chance of winning. I did not think, however, there was any chance he would win on the first ballot. Mm-hmm. And there ended up being 12 people running. I watched a bunch of it on the Facebook feed. They live streamed the event. A bunch of these people need to go to public speaking classes. But And so he needed 187 votes. The way the caucus works is 50% plus one gets you to be the winner. And when there's 12 people running, normally that will take a long time because with each vote somebody drops off and then they give their votes to whoever, and that's generally how you get through the process of a caucus. And so I thought there's no way with 12 people running, including big names like Curtis Hill and Christy Stutzman, Kurt Nicely, it'll take 3 or 4 ballots probably to get through. And old Rudy, he blew right on past. I think he ended up with 205 or 207 or something like that.
205. He slayed in the first round.
Yeah, so 2 interesting things out of this. Number one, the sympathy vote is strong because there's nothing in Rudy Yacham's background other than being Jackie Walorski's friend that you would say, wow, super reliable conservative voice here that we can really count on, especially when you had reliable conservatives, like we mentioned. There were others running too, but the big names of Nicely and Stutzman and Curtis. So you're taking a total flyer on this guy. And I'm sorry, it's tragic that Jackie Walorski passed away. It was a terrible death. I'm not taking a flyer and a sympathy vote on who represents me in the U.S. Congress. And this guy, you got no idea who he is, what he's going to do. There's no debates. It wasn't like he was on a stage and had to defend his positions. The guy gave, a 2-minute speech. And that's a really scary way. I get that everybody feels bad that she passed away, but that is a really scary way to elect your representatives in this country. Second thing is, and probably the bigger story is, Curtis Hill's probably done now because that's 2 elections in a row that he's lost. A lot of people thought he might mount a run for governor coming up in 2024, try to pull together that conservative wing of the party. That's going to be really tough, though, now having lost 2 elections in a row, although I guess you could make a case, well, they were both 2 delegates at convention-esque formats, but I think it'd be really tough.
So Rudy Yacham had 205 votes. Curtis Hill had 86. Now, did you hear Yacham say anything like he was going to carry on Jackie Walorski's message? Is that what got him through?
Well, her husband endorsed him. And look, again, tragic. Anytime anyone passes away, especially someone as young as Jackie Walorski, also the people who were with her, terrible, awful. Nobody disputes that. But life goes on, and you have an obligation as a precinct committeeman. And look, this is the Republican Party now, right? I mean, they time and time again, when the connected people, not the rank and file voter, but the connected people, take path of least resistance and take a more moderate approach. And look, that's their right. They can do that. But there's nothing about this guy that says, wow, he's going to be really great. Yeah, he's really got the background that he's going to do. He was close with her. And political insidership, I don't even know if that's a word, happens all the time, and that's fine. But wow, that is a gigantic risk because this person now is one of the 535 most powerful people in the entire country.
Well, you know what? You could look at it at the other side is people say, drain the swamp, drain the swamp. This guy is somewhat of an outsider.
Is he, though?
He's had, this long relationship with Jackie Walorski.
Well, that ain't an outsider. But
he hasn't been in office before, so maybe it's a new perspective he'll bring.
Yeah, well, Holcomb hadn't been in office either. And if and how did that work out?
I'm trying to spin it positively,
You're going to get real dizzy, Casey. We need to sit you in a corner somewhere in a padded chair to make sure you don't fall over and hurt yourself from all that spinning.
Could we? All right, so you've got your tax refund. You're going to spend it all in one place. What are you going to do with your windfall?
So I have to say something nice about one facet of our government, which is the Department of Revenue. They have given me my $200 back in a timely fashion. I greatly appreciate that.
Was it, though?
Well,
was it timely?
Okay, so time out. Let me. We need to take a break.
I know. We need to talk about this a little more, don't we? Okay, we'll do that coming up. From 93 WIBC.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis has been solving garage door problems for 33 years. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577. For service today.
There's a reason Comcast Business powers more businesses than any other provider. Actually, there's a few. Comcast Business offers the fastest, reliable network, the peace of mind that comes with Security Edge, helping to protect all your connected devices, and the most reliable 5G mobile network. Want me to keep going? I can. Whether your small business is starting or growing, you need Comcast Business. Technology solutions that put you ahead and give you serious savings. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Get internet and security for just $60 a month when you add mobile and save $480 your first year. Plus, ask how to get a $500 prepaid card with a qualifying gig bundle. Limited time offer, restrictions apply. Requires EcoBill and AutoPay. New Comcast Business 250 megabits per second internet and Security Edge customers only. 2-year agreement required. Equipment installation, taxes, and other fees extra and subject to change. Must add mobile within 90 days of internet install and keep all services for 12 months to receive discount. Comcast Business Mobile utilizes the network with the most Root Metrics 5G data reliability wins in 2H 2021. Results may vary. Award is not an endorsement.
Guy Relford for Independent Safe Company. Ben Franklin said that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. That could not possibly be more true when it comes to protecting your valuables, whether it's your firearms, your jewelry, your family heirlooms, or your important legal documents. And that's where my friends at Independent Safe Company, located in Noblesville on State Road 37, that's where they come in. They can provide you with a quality American-made safe, whether a Liberty safe or a Browning safe, that's perfectly designed to protect your valuables. They don't go through a middleman. They order and receive their safes directly from the manufacturer like Liberty or Browning. In addition, their manufacturers are American companies, meaning you're not shipping safes overseas before they can be delivered and installed in your home. So check out my friends at Independence Liberty Safe, located in Noblesville. They're at 317-214-1437. That's 317-214-1437. Or contact them online at independencelibertysafe.com, located in Noblesville.
As a parent, you want the best education for your child. Choose Marian University Preparatory School for this school year. Their faith-based online private school is currently enrolling students in grades 6 through 9. Your child will benefit from their personalized college prep curriculum and supportive community. Financial aid is available through the Indiana Choice Scholarship. To learn more about the unique educational experience of Marian University Preparatory School, visit k12.com/Marian. That's k12.com/MARIAN.
Of course I love my parents, I really do, but often felt angry with them because I was always screaming so they could hear me on the telephone. All that has changed thanks to the CapTel phone from Relay, Indiana. We're so much better off because now my parents can read what I'm saying on the CapTel caption telephone. Our conversations are pleasant because through voice recognition technology, my words appear to them on an easy-to-read screen right on the telephone. Thanks, Relay Indiana.
Learn more at RelayIndiana.com.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Hauling in donations. It's cloudy and 68 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:30. Democrats keep raising more money to elect senators. The committee working to elect more Democrats is reporting a $10 million haul in July, the fourth straight month it's outraised Republicans, who pulled in $8 million last month. The U.S. and South Korea stretching their legs militarily. Fox's Tanya J. Powers.
The training exercises between the U.S. and South Korea will run through September 1st and include field exercises involving aircraft, warships, tanks, and potentially tens of thousands of troops. It comes after last week's launch of 2 suspected cruise missiles by North Korea, adding to a record pace of their launches this year, more than 30 so far. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
Governor Holcomb planning to go to South Korea later this week after he spent some time in Taiwan.
Going to Taiwan will be to sell the state of Indiana and to show all that we have to offer.
Talking to Inside Indiana Business, Holcomb bolstering business relationships with Taiwanese companies looking to invest in Indiana. Now the stock report, a bad day to start the week. The Dow was down 363 points at the opening bell to 33,343. The Nasdaq down 195 to 13,072, and the S&P 500 is down 52 to 4,179. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
I had low back pain that was due to herniated discs.
Meet Dr. Justin Garzone, another satisfied patient who found regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics.
Over a very short period of time, the pain went away completely, and I've had absolutely no symptoms or pain since my treatment.
Before Dr. Garzone found QC Kinetics, he was looking at all the old school pain treatments.
It was recommended that I have steroid injections done, but then unfortunately my insurance company said that I would have to do 3 months of physical therapy first, and I needed to get better quickly.
With QC Kinetics, the doctor got lasting relief with no downtime.
I didn't have to take any medications during my treatment. I avoided surgery, and I am now pain-free.
Don't live with chronic pain, and don't go under the knife. Call QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, for a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 463-235-7160. That's 463-235-7160. In Eagle Creek and Greenwood, 463-235-7160.
When the weather turns severe, turn to the WIBC Storm Desk, presented by Technology Recyclers, certified electronics recycling. Visit tech-recyclers.com. You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
You can go to in.gov and check the status of your refund. Where's my money? You got your money, Rob Kendall. I'm so excited for you.
Yes. Now, okay, so we got into this before the break, but I needed more time to clarify. I am going to give a shout out to the Department of Revenue because now, not once but twice, they have returned my money to me once they have had permission to return it to me in a timely manner.
Because you had said that you got your money in a timely manner. And
yes.
I thought, wait a minute.
I got my initial tax refund that I was owed, my $125 in a timely manner, and I got my $200 in a timely manner. So no problem with the Department of Revenue because they are just following orders from the people who run the state. And we talk about this all the time. When we rip on the government, there's a lot of great people who work for the government, work in the government. They want to do good work for the government. Sadly, our state government is run by morons, and you are a victim of the people who carry out the marching orders like any entity, business, whatever. The real issue here is the fact that I shouldn't have to feel like I am celebrating getting $200 of the $1,500 that I'm owed. And by when I say that I'm owed, I mean that the government is sitting on in their, they call it a surplus, their overtaxation fund. And they're acting like they're doing me some sort of solid, that they've had this money for months and months and months, and yet they took the path of least resistance possible to give me that $200. And I'm also not naive to the fact, unlike some other people, I care about my fellow man, that a whole bunch of people haven't received their first $125. Right. And they're told no recourse for you until after November 1st if you don't get it.
Just wait a little longer.
And that all rests on the elected people in this country. And we're going to come back here in a little bit to talk about how Lockdown McGee is out risking the security of our state in Taiwan, and we'll get into that. And I've got some questions for that I think would serve Hoosiers well, Casey, for McGee and his staff about this little trip they're on over there. But regardless, he has spent more time catering and bowing down on a knee to the people of Taiwan than he has giving us our damn money back. He did it when he went to go see his old buddy Klaus Schwab, yes, at Davos. This guy is a professional. What do they call it? Is jaunting? Is that what they call when you get on a flight and you go
jaunting?
He's a professional. Is it
sure
jaunter? Is that the word I'm looking for? That may not be. He's a professional something. And the fact is, our governor spends more time focused on flying all over the world, trying to cater and bow down to foreign governments than he does worry about helping the people that are hurting in his own state. Junket, thank you, Sticky Frog in the YouTube chat.
Hey, thanks, by the way, for watching on YouTube. If you'd like to join in the conversation, just head over to YouTube and type in Kendall and Casey WIBC in the search bar, and you too can play along. I really feel like our chat group needs a name.
Gallivanting, also a good one. Yes. Thank you, Christine. Yes. It's jaunting is a word too, though, Andy said. So, but junketing. He's junketing.
He's touring semiconductor factories in Taiwan.
Sure. Well, his best buddy, the Duke of Spendingburg, Todd Young, because those guys share a brain, a hip, and a heart. They're like evil twins separated at birth. They should be in the next Bond villains should be, or Batman villains should be the Duke of Spendingburg and Lockdown McGee. Anyway, regardless, and we'll get into more about the Taiwan trip here in a little bit, but this idea you should not feel good or lucky or fortunate that you got $200 of the $1,500 that someone took from you with absolutely no use.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Let's move on to the raid of Trump's house and William Jacobson. This guy is a Cornell Law School professor. He discusses how hard the government will fight to keep the truth behind the raid.
They don't want even a single word released. They don't want anything to the public to know anything about it. So I think the government will submit to the magistrate in secret. We'll never get to see what they submit. Extremely heavily redacted document, and the magistrate will then potentially hold a hearing with the government, again, in secret. We're not going to get to watch this over it. And I also have no doubt if the magistrate releases anything of substance, they're going to take it up to a court of appeals and try to get it reversed. So the government does not want anybody to know anything that led up to this, which of course is the opposite of what we should know. We should know a lot more when a former president, almost certain candidate, and likely nominee for 2024 is the subject of this.
And they gave an August 20.
And this is where everybody, regardless of your political affiliation, should. Now, again, there's so many people that are so hyper-partisan that it's not going to ever happen again, but should stand up and say, why is our government hiding on something of this magnitude? Clearly, you felt you had a preponderance of evidence necessary, despite the fact that you were in continuous communication with Donald Trump and he had followed all the procedural things that you had requested, that you felt the need, while you knew he was not there, to raid his home. And instead of manning up and saying, look, here's what we had, here is this preponderance of evidence, here is the overwhelming proof that the only possible way to deal with this national tragedy that was looming was to raid this guy's house. No, they're going to try to hide behind a federal judge, a magistrate in this case, and prevent the public from knowing what was clearly, what they're claiming was clearly imminent danger, that we had to raid the guy's home.
Imminent danger, right. And now they're using words like secret and even court of appeals, which means it's just going to be dragged out forever. And Representative Dan Crenshaw said it's automatically political. This was a political hit from the get-go. He went on to say they haven't acted responsibly, the Department of Justice. And we're going to hear more from him in just a minute. But Adam Dershowitz, this guy, he's the guy at Harvard, right? He's blasting the left and the left-wing media, especially CNN's coverage of the raid on Trump's house.
When I gave a law school exam, I would say list all the crimes and then exercise judgment and show which crimes should be prosecuted. If Larry Tribe, Professor Tribe, was in my class, he would have failed, because one of the things he said on CNN is that in his judgment, his former student, Merrick Garland, should be prosecuting Donald Trump for attempting to murder Vice President Pence. That is the dumbest thing that I've ever heard a law professor say in 60 years. And yet he's embraced by CNN. He's embraced by the left, because the rule is, if you can get Trump, the Constitution be damned, the law be damned, statutes be damned, judgment be damned, anything that gets Trump is okay and permissible. That's CNN's mantra. That's Larry Tribe's mantra. That's the mantra of many people in the Get Trump movement. I'm in favor of the Preserve the Constitution movement, even if it means you don't get somebody. The Constitution is more important than any particular case.
Well, and he makes a phenomenal point, which is the polarization, the radicalization that has now seeped into the main, air quote, mainstream national media, in which they allow absolute insanity. There was a time where someone would have said that, and not all that long ago, they would have been totally ostracized and banned from the network, and people would say, boy, this guy's just ridiculous. We can't have him or her on anymore.
Right.
And now they not only accept it and tolerate it, they promote it because they hate this guy. And in the case of CNN, they realize their audience in general is so blatantly stupid that they'll believe it. And now you will have a bunch of people out in the ether parroting this absolute nonsensical insanity that this guy says.
Right, that Trump was trying to murder Pence and get Trump at all costs. That's what he was saying. And that's what Liz Cheney has been saying, right? She's going to get him at all costs, no matter what it takes. She's going to do that. Well, let's hear from Dan Crenshaw. He's the Republican from Texas. He appeared on CNN's State of the Union, and he was asked about Trump having potentially classified information in an unsecured location. He said, I want to get to the truth. Let's listen to what else he said.
It's hard to justify what the Department of Justice did here, in my opinion. And here's why. Here's what it really boils down to. It's not a question that it's bad to have classified material in a non-SCIF environment, right? That's a non-secret compartmentalized infrastructure there. That's wrong. But there's ways to mitigate that. There's ways to resolve that issue. And I still haven't seen any evidence that that Trump was even asked to give these documents back. He's been cooperating with them on these issues for a while now, for months. And so why take it to this extreme extent? And I think that's why you're seeing so much backlash from Republicans. You're seeing everyone coalesce. It doesn't matter what side of the issue they're on with Trump. You've seen a lot coalesce around this one because it does seem unjust. And there does seem to be a long history of loss of credibility at the Department of Justice at the hands of Democrats. And I think people are rightfully frustrated about that.
You know, it wasn't a RICO case, okay? This isn't Tony Soprano. It's not John Gotti. It's not the mafia. It's the President of the United States. If you were looking for something that was so egregious that you believed the President of the United States was in possession of it and was going to weaponize it in some fashion, how would you have not, the moment you got in and out, called a press conference, sprinted to the podium, and said, here is the highly malicious behavior that is taking place, and this is why we had no choice but to do this. They clearly hate Trump enough to do that. They're not doing it because they don't have that.
Yeah. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC, and last week Liz Cheney lost her race.
That's a shame. That's bad.
And then she said, no, maybe I want to run for president. Do you think she'd win? Well, Mitt Romney has some thoughts on it, and we'll talk about that coming up from 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show, 3 o'clock this afternoon. The biggest stories of the day, and Guy Relford joins us in studio, 93 WIBC.
Hello, Hoosiers. This is Congressman Greg Pence. It's an honor to serve the 6th District of Indiana. As a former Marine, I'm proud to serve you. As you all know, inflation is out of control. The Biden administration's policies are crushing our economy and crushing our wallet. I'm fighting every day against the Biden policies driving up the cost of groceries and utilities. In Congress, we need the federal government working for Americans, not against Americans. We need to curb runaway government spending to fight back against inflation. We need to support domestic energy production to lower gas prices. As your congressman, I will continue to fight on your behalf. Please visit pence.house.gov to learn more.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
There's a lot depending on your heart, which is why Community Health Network has put the experts and technology in place to provide the most extensive cardiovascular care in your neighborhood. From preventive care to life-saving interventions, our numerous Indiana locations provide the right care for your needs. Because with every heart we save, we prevent another from breaking. To learn more, visit ecommunity.com/heart. Community Health Network. Exceptional care, simply delivered.
2022 is the year for that diamond upgrade. Time to go from a 1 carat to a 2 carat, or a 2 carat up to a 4 or 5 carat. It's true, going bigger is in, but that doesn't mean you have to overpay or compromise on quality. Diamonds Direct is your best destination for large, unique, and rare diamonds. These are exquisite, hand-picked precious diamonds from 2 carats to 20 carats, in all shapes, independently graded by the GIA. These diamonds have all been chosen for maximum brilliance. Best part, Diamonds Direct's stunning stunning large diamonds are sourced from the best ethical diamond cutters around the globe, purchased exclusively for our showroom, and free from any broker or middleman upcharges. This means you can go bigger with the confidence that you're getting the highest quality at the best possible price nationwide. You see, at Diamonds Direct, we're more than just another jewelry store. We're the nation's true diamond experts with unrivaled selection, uncompromising standards, and unbeatable value. Let us prove it today with your diamond upgrade. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion. DiamondsDirect.com.
I'll second guest dinners with friends because they can be interrupted by diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or oily stools. It turns out I have EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, which means I'm missing the enzymes needed to digest food. My doctor prescribed Creon, pancrelipase, an oral prescription medication that replaces pancreatic digestive enzymes. Creon treats EPI due to cystic fibrosis, chronic pancreatitis, pancreatectomy, or other conditions.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you're allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules, as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Creon is the #1 prescribed EPI treatment. Ask your doctor about Creon for EPI and visit creoninfo.com or call 800-633-9110 to learn more. That's CREONinfo.com.
As the Republican presidential primary for 24 begins to take shape, former nominee Mitt Romney shared his opinion on the potential candidate, including Liz Cheney. Of course, after her recent loss, she is openly considering a bid for the White House, something that the 2012 nominee, Mitt Romney, said not such a good idea.
We've talked about this before. And I cannot emphasize this enough, having been around these people for years and years and years of my life, and I've never been happier now that I'm no longer around these people. The level of self-absorption and narcissism from so many people in public office, and the higher up you go, the worse you get. And the idea that in any profession or whatever, that you could have a resounding and astounding rejection by the people who control your employment, and yet think that you have just been resoundingly and astoundingly rejected by your current employer, in this case it's the voters of Wyoming, and that you are going to use that astounding and resounding rejection for total dereliction of duty, doing an awful job on the job, totally abandoning your mission and your bosses, which in this case are the taxpayers, and think, well, now I'm going to use that and get a job that's 100 times greater or more important than the job I have. It's the equivalent of, and I'm just making it up, like if you were the Night Stalker, not Richard Ramirez, but Night Stalker, STOCKER at Walmart, and you did a
stalker.
Yes, you did a terrible job. You were saying, well, now I'm going to go be the CEO of Walmart.
Right.
Like, that doesn't make any sense to anyone ever, because you couldn't do the basic job. But because of the aforementioned narcissism, self-absorption, sense of self-importance, and the fact that the media will prop this awful woman up, she lives in some delusional world where, I really could be a player in national politics.
Yeah, you fail miserably at something small. Hey, let's take it to a grand scale and see how we can do. Mitt Romney says that she would definitely not be the Republican nominee, but it's coming from Mitt Romney. So this is someone who didn't win himself. He also said Trump wasn't going to win the first time. So I'm not putting a lot of credence in his thought, even if he is right.
Mitt Romney was the last Republican on the presidential side, and I said this when I voted for him, that I will ever talk myself into voting for again. And I will never, ever, ever, ever vote now for any candidate, period, where you have to talk yourself into voting for someone. Because every time I've had to talk myself into voting for someone, they have been an abject disaster. Like, so much of politics is instinct. And if your initial instinct is not to be for someone, if you have to get right with yourself on voting for someone, you should not be voting for that person. Votes are earned. They shouldn't be conceded, or they shouldn't be, well, the other person is a lot worse. So you don't have to vote for someone. And I will never do that ever again. No way.
I feel like right now the political 22, it's a scene. It's way too early to start predicting. And the raid changed that. Even if you thought you knew which way you were going, the raid changed how a lot of people feel. Let's move on and talk about Joe Manchin. He says he pays no attention to criticism or campaign donations when making decisions about what's best for West Virginia. But there's a new poll that came out. And, well, let's just hear what NBC's Chuck Todd has to say about Joe Manchin.
Joe Manchin and Liz Cheney? Well, no one likes them either. And with their own parties, they are the most unpopular.
So the Manchin thing is the best. So Cheney is obviously clearly underwater as well. She's -6, 28% approved, 35% disapproved. That's inside the Republican Party. But Manchin, and this is what, look, it really, really, really sucks, Casey, about what the Biden Green Dream is going to do to this country, the growth of government, the rise in inflation, the new taxes, which will be felt, even if it isn't a direct tax on you, you will feel it in terms of the price you pay for things, etc. All that's awful. But if there is a silver lining on this, it is that now everyone hates Joe Manchin, and I have been harping about this guy for almost 2 years now, when all these Republicans were, oh my God, I wish Joe Manchin were a Republican. Joe, you're on the wrong team. Come over here. It said, no. This guy is a big government leftist who just enjoys seeing his name in print. And he, just like Sinema, are doing things to see their name in print. And when the rubber met the road, Casey, what did they do? They rolled over and played dead, and they voted for radical liberalism. The same way as they all voted for those stimulus bills. They voted for the infrastructure bill. They voted for the radical Supreme Court Justice, Ketanji Brown Jackson, that Biden nominated. These are not good people. They're not your friend. And this has finally opened people's eyes up to it, and it probably likely will mean the end of Joe Manchin. So while that's the green dream is bad for the country, at least you're finally starting to see Liz Cheney, 6 points underwater. Joe Manchin amongst Democrats, 23 points underwater. And this is the best part about it. It didn't help him at all with Democrats. He gave them 80% of what they wanted, and they still hate his guts. And so that is mildly rewarding.
It would be nice if somebody could make T-shirts that said, no one likes Joe Manchin.
Hey, by the way, can we point something out real quick? Because people have been asking about this.
Yeah.
I wear a sweatshirt
in
here
the
because it is 0 degrees in the studio. And I don't know if this is a thing that they do because this electronic equipment is so, I guess you got to keep it cool. But people are saying, well, Rob wears a sweater in case he doesn't wear any clothes.
Sleeveless and you're in a sweatshirt.
Some of us, I guess, need to flaunt our bodies more than others. But I wear sweatshirts because it is like 0 degrees in here. And as you know, due to my very svelte, slim figure, I don't have a lot of poundage on this body to use for warmth. So that is the reason, for those of you in the YouTube chat, why I wear sweaters all the time.
And what they're not seeing is that I normally have a blanket on my lap to keep myself warm.
How do you square that? The blanket with the sleeveless approach. Wouldn't it just be easier just to dress?
Appropriate for the studio?
Yeah.
Yeah, but then I leave and I get hot. So I want to, can we talk about Secretary Pete really quick?
You can do whatever you'd like to do. It's half your show.
Okay, he said that he told airlines this week that passengers are still seeing an unacceptable number of disruptions this summer, and he's working to get food and hotel costs covered for canceled flights. He was going to write that strongly worded letter. And I think we actually I think we have a clip of Pete Buttigieg being tough guy.
Yeah, this is Mayor Pete. As Americans, we expect when we purchase an airline ticket that we get to our destination safely and reliably and affordably. Do better.
Very sternly worded letter from the Transportation Secretary.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Good morning.
At Franciscan Health, we're inspired by what moves you and how you you move through life. So if you're suffering from joint pain and want to get back to an active lifestyle, Franciscan Health Mooresville and Carmel, home to the Center for Hip and Knee Surgery, is your best move. Our world-renowned orthopedic surgeons offer the latest advancements in total joint replacement, including outpatient surgery. If you're ready to get moving with less pain, request an appointment at centerforhipandkneesurgery.org.
Hey, good morning. It's Casey. So on Friday, I gave you an assignment, and that was to check out your patio because, you know, it can look so much better, especially if you call Galaxy Concrete Coating. Yeah, they can put their coating on your outside patio because it's UV resistant, it won't yellow, and it will stand the test of all of the harsh weather we have here in central Indiana. Call them 317-751-9070 or find them online, galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
Need to beat inflation? Golden Oak Lending is here to help.
Inflation has credit card balances at an all-time high. Why pay up to 25% interest when Golden Oak can pay off that debt at 3.75% fixed?
Our low mortgage rates make you the winner.
Call 317-706-GOLD to lock in your 3.75% rate today.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
NMLS 114937. 3.75% fixed, 4.88% APR. FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
As a parent, you want the best education for your child. Choose Marian University Preparatory School for this school year. Their faith-based online private school is currently enrolling students in grades 6 through 9. Your child will benefit from their personalized college prep curriculum and supportive community. Financial aid is available through the Indiana Choice Scholarship. To learn more about the unique educational experience of Marian University Preparatory School, visit k12.com/Marian. That's k12.com/MARIAN.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hard-working partners. So they keep 38,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Old National Wealth Management is asking investors to get old. But first, people have questions.
Now, if I get old, will someone explain how bond prices and yields go in opposite directions?
Yes, your own wealth advisor is there to make everything clear.
No matter how many times I ask.
Absolutely.
Because I kind of ask a lot. I ask about 401ks, too.
We love questions.
Okay, put me in the old machine. I'm ready.
Introducing Old National Bank, where business relationships and results matter. Old National Bank. Get old. Member FDIC.
Coming up in 2 minutes, 3 ISU students dead in a car crash Sunday morning. We know who one of them was. Plus a trip to Taiwan for Governor Eric Holcomb. All that and more coming up from the Shepherd Community Center studios after Fox News. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis.
Mar-a-Lago motives. I'm Chris Foster. Fox News. The judge who signed off on a search warrant for former President Trump's home in Florida is signaling that he will unseal parts of the affidavit in the case that explains why the search warrant was requested.
Given the intense public and historical interest in an unprecedented search of a former president's residence, Judge Bruce Reinhart writes, the government has not shown sufficient concerns to justify sealing the entire affidavit used to secure a warrant. Still, Reinhart has set a Thursday deadline for the Justice Department to propose redactions to the document. And he does note compelling needs to protect privacy interests of witnesses and prevent intimidation or retaliation in an ongoing investigation.
Fox's Jared Halpern. The first day of school is Wednesday in Columbus, Ohio, and teachers have gone on strike.
Columbus teachers say sticking points appear to be HVAC systems, permanent art, music, and gym teachers, and smaller class sizes. The district claims its most recent contract offer that was turned down. Add school resources, upgrade some building conditions, and pays teachers $91,000 on average after 3 years.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. Just 1 in 5 Americans in a new poll say they're happy with where the country's going.
The NBC News poll finds 74% aren't happy with the direction of the country, with over half saying the nation's best days are behind it. The poll also looks at priorities to voters ahead of the midterms. Among the top issues are threats to democracy, a change from cost of living back in May, President Joe Biden's approval rating did see some improvements, but still sits at 42%, while 68% of people still believe the country is in a recession.
That's Fox's Ryan Schmelz. A sell-off to start the trading day and week on Wall Street. The Dow is down 418 points. The S&P and NASDAQ also down more than 1% apiece. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Dead too young. Cloudy and 68 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:02. 3 Indiana State University students killed in a car crash Sunday morning. John Herrick reports.
5 people were in the car in total, and all of them were Indiana State students. Police say the car left the road, hit a tree, and caught on fire. The driver and 2 passengers were killed. The other 2 were taken to a hospital with serious injuries. John Herrick, 93, WIBC Mobile News.
One of the students killed was Caleb Van Hooser, a freshman football player at ISU. Governor Eric Holcomb visiting Asia this week, making stops in Taiwan and South Korea.
First and foremost, we'll be going to say thank you to longtime friends who have done business here, Taiwanese business that's been here. We've got 10 different companies in our state.
Talking to Inside Indiana Business, Holcomb's visit to Taiwan is on the heels of other visits from high-ranking members of Congress, much to the displeasure of the Chinese. Holcomb's visit is purely business-related, he says. The GOP nominee to succeed the late Congresswoman Jackie Walorski in Congress has been selected. It's Rudy Yakum.
I want to thank our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and our God above.
Yakum in his acceptance speech Saturday, he has the endorsement of Walorski's husband. Democrats will be holding a caucus on Tuesday to nominate their candidate to fill Walorski's seat. Gas is hovering around $3.90 a gallon on average across Indiana today. The cheapest gas is down in Evansville. Several stations there have unleaded for around $3.41. 6 months ago, IMPD officer Tommy Manchin was shot in the throat in the line of duty. He says that he's been doing well since he was released from the hospital.
Health-wise, doing so much better than doctors and even thought.
From a video posted on IMPD's YouTube page, Manchin was shot during a traffic stop in late February. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
My name is Kayla Sinders, and I work for Gleaners Food Bank. I am a local service manager for 3 counties in our 21-county service area, and I nominated Katie.
And I'm Jiffy Lube owner Steve Sanner. At Jiffy Lube, we are proud to support Hoosier charities that use their vehicles to do more to make Indiana a better place to live.
My name is Katie Wilkerson. I pick up at the mobile food pantries. The best part of volunteering to hand someone some food and see the smile on their face, the relief. Without my vehicle, there's no way I'd be able to do this. To go to any of the pantries, it's at least 18 miles.
Jiffy Lube of Indiana provides all of our Do More winners with free vehicle maintenance for a year. Because now at Jiffy Lube, our trained technicians do more to keep vehicles like theirs and yours on the road. Brakes, tires, batteries, and more, as well as Indiana's favorite oil change since 1985.
If you know a volunteer who impacts your community, nominate them today to receive a year's worth of free vehicle maintenance. Just click the Do More tab at JiffyLubeIndiana.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
The Republican Party in Indiana sees zero problem in record spending, in record taxation.
And Casey Daniels.
You went out there and said, please vote for me. You debated other people on why you're the better person for the position. Suck it up.
This is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Monday, August 22nd, and things that are trending this hour. Dennis Rodman. He's planning to visit Russia this week to seek the release of an imprisoned American player. We'll get into that a little bit more later in the hour. Also trending, Harry Styles. He's on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine, and they have said he is the first ever global cover star.
Oh, does anyone read Rolling Stone anymore?
Not me. I used to.
I mean, you were in the music industry.
Used to. It's way too liberal for me now.
As a music publication, is there any tangible value to Rolling Stone that you could not get anywhere else?
Only if you haven't seen the pretty picture of Harry Styles on the cover.
Oh, I see.
Also trending, Ohio. Teachers at Ohio's largest school district have voted to strike, and this is happening just before the start of the school year.
You know, I always find it interesting when I see teachers went on strike or teachers refused to show up to work, or in this case, as you said, conveniently right before the start of the school year. You know, remember a couple of years ago when the red-shirted psychopaths came down and tried to shut down downtown, and Hammer and I caught a bunch of them drinking and gambling at the gambling place.
Really?
This is very famous. We took the photo of it, and they got very mad, and they said very mean things about me and threatened me. And
I'm sure your feelings were hurt.
Well, you know, don't threaten me with a good time, Casey. But, you know, they took great pride in shutting these communities. We'll make them feel the pain. I thought this was supposed to be about the children.
Mm-hmm.
I was always told that the children were first, and this was about the children. And, you know, Casey, call me a cynic, but it seems to be about a lot more than the children most of the time. It seems to be about the adults.
Seems to be about the Benjamins in a lot of cases. It is 7 minutes after 10. He's Rob Kendall. My name is Casey Daniels. Thank you for joining us this morning. So let's talk about Mitch Daniels. He was the voice of Republicans for a long time until he quit politics for higher education. Well, guess what? He's speaking out again. But the question is his gentlemanly brand out of favor?
So Adam Wren of Politico did an interesting interview with Mitch Daniels. I like Adam's writing for a couple reasons. One, he has used me quite a bit over the years for various stories. And he always quotes accurately. Like, what else could you ask for, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he did he does this from time to time. He works for Indianapolis Monthly. He's got his own deal that he does as well. And so he sat down with Mitch Daniels and did a lengthy interview. And I would encourage everybody after noon, because we don't care what you do during Tony Katz's show, but wait until our show's over to read this interview.
It's on Politico.
Yeah, that he did with Mitch Daniels. And I thought a couple of fascinating things came out of this interview. And somebody who we both know and like, who's a pretty high-profile person, said this, who also read the interview. And they said that they hoped Mitch Daniels does not run for public office again because he's too good for politics and he's too interested in doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you get this kind of out of this interview, again, you're reminded of this. And I don't think that plays well or even plays at all in the modern era. And you don't get to write what era you're in, right? It's unfortunate. You know, you wish everybody could, always have spirited, rational debates with each other and, hey, may the best idea win. But let's face it, we are in a culture now where politics is blood sport, where the other side wants to kill the other side and
do whatever it takes.
And you really need fighters on your side because the other side will slit your throat and not think twice about it. And we're seeing it happen right now in this country. And a big concern for me would be, does Mitch Daniels in the modern era, because I don't think Mitch Daniels has any path to the presidency. I think you'd be just fooling yourself. He had his window, and for a variety of reasons, he chose not to take it. That was fine. 100% his prerogative in 2012 not to run. Had he run, I think there's a very good chance he could have been the Republican nominee and probably won. He would have been a much better candidate than Mitt Romney against Barack Obama. An orange peel, as we often reference, would have been a better candidate against Mitt Romney than Barack Obama. But I really do think Mitch Daniels would struggle if indeed governor is the office that would most likely be suited for him. I don't think he's going to challenge Mike Braun for U.S. Senate or anything like that. I wonder if he has the intestinal fortitude to move the modern Republican Party in Indiana, which has become completely corrupt and moved rapidly left, especially given the vision that Daniels once had. If he's got the stomach to do that for 4 years, and at 75 years old, which would be what he would be when he wins, why would you want to do that?
Okay, so the last time we heard from Mitch Daniels was 2012, and that was the State of the Union response to Obama.
Yes.
So you're saying that the GOP is vastly different now, and he's too much of a nice guy? Nice guys finish last?
No, I think there's a whole bunch of Republicans who have woke up to the idea of we are sick of being used and abused. And I've talked about this at length. My political lens changed dramatically after I became an elected official and went to work in state government. And started going to these events, and for some reason, I will never know why, they let me in the club, and I saw how much, I don't know, maybe I was supposed to be like the token conservative, because you got to have a few to fake it, right? How these people would openly, the establishment wing of the Republican Party, and much of it out of the very Indianapolis power base that Mitch Daniels came from, how much they actually loathe and hate conservatives and see conservatives as nothing other than a vote to press the means of the establishment, which is ever so slightly better than the Democrat Party. It's about a power structure. And Mitch Daniels, to some extent, did push back against that when he was governor. Mitch Daniels did really rule over Bosma and Long, Brian Bosma, Speaker of the House, and David Long, the pro tem of the Senate at the time, with an iron fist. And you saw this when Daniels got out of office. Bosma and Long realized Mike Pence had no interest in actual governing. He had interest in platforming himself to the presidency, and the legislature really, the establishment really took control of the time at the legislature, and then it became the governor's office under Holcomb. And so I thought this interview was interesting because Daniels really did one area that he really stood up for and pushed back on, and I think this will be one of the key issues the next governor is going to have to stand up on if we're going to get this state back on track, is the public education system. Mm-hmm. And Daniels made several attempts to reform public education when he was governor. I think he recognizes, and he said it in the nice way that Mitch Daniels says things, markedly different than a Rob Kendall would say. But I think Mitch Daniels recognizes that the aforementioned teachers unions and the radical leftism that is now through the superintendents and school board members that is being openly instilled in kids throughout the public education system. Look, record numbers of kids are leaving the public education system to seek private alternative. There's a reason that's happening. And Mitch was very, in his own way, forceful on that comeback, and Adam pressed him on that a little bit. I thought it was a good back and forth, but it's like he gets on Trump, and it's clear Mitch Daniels loathes Donald Trump.
He won't even say Donald Trump. He'll say the last presidency.
Right. And so I look at that and say, look, Donald Trump, for all his flaws, was a fighter. Did he do a bunch of things I didn't agree with? Yes. Did he go about things personally, like, calling porn star horseface, that were of no political benefit to him? Yes. But in terms of a country who elected somebody because they were looking for a fighter, a Republican Party who nominated Donald Trump because they were looking for a fighter, I don't think Daniels has that in him. And in fact, I think he despises it and wants nothing to do with it. And I'm not sure how you can accomplish things in the modern era without being a fighter.
He was asked, can your brand of conservatism still win in the current environment? And he said, I don't know. I've been in isolation and quarantine for 10 years. In one way I think about it, maybe I haven't been infected by the viruses that are running around on both sides. So it could be a good thing, possibly.
And here's the other thing he's going to have to deal with in a new world, which is he's going to be running. If Mitch Daniels came out tomorrow and said, I'm running for governor, there's a handful of people who are no longer going to bow and curtsy and say, well, right this way, Mr. Daniels. Eric Doden is up in Fort Wayne, has raised millions of dollars. I'm told he'll have more than $10 million. Trey Hollingsworth has infinite family money. Right. Suzanne Crouch is a prolific fundraiser. These people are not just stepping aside. And so the question will be, when Mitch Daniels gets bloodied amongst his own, how does he respond to that? Because a big reason people voted for Trump, remember in those Republican debates, Trump was having nobody's crap. And to the point where those big-time politicians were petrified to even Rubio, Jeb, Christie, all those guys were petrified to even challenge Trump because they were getting emasculated on stage. How does Mitch Daniels respond when people with infinite money, and of which there will be at least three people, there'll be at least two, Doden and Suzanne Crouch, and then if Trey Hollingsworth gets in with infinite money, who are not going to nice guy Mitch Daniels if he's standing in their way to the governor's office?
So Purdue was just honored as being named the fourth most trusted public university in the nation. You can read about this right now at WIBC.com. But one of the things that Mitch Daniels said, how he was asked, how did Purdue get this honor? And he said, we do what we say we're going to do.
And there's no doubt in terms of government competency and a reliably efficient government, Mitch Daniels would be starting, in the poll position. But the problem becomes with the Republican Party that is passing record budgets and record taxation and record growth of government. When you were the government reformer, do you have the stones to stand on a stage and say, everything these clowns have done since I left office is wrong?
You can't nice your way to the top anymore.
And I'm going to fix and undo what must have been done by his buddy. His protege was Eric Holcomb.
Mm-hmm.
So is he going to have the guts to do that? And why would you want to at 75 years old? You did it. You will always be a beloved figure. You will be on the Mount Rushmore of probably Indiana, period, certainly Indiana political figures. Sequels very rarely ever work out, other than The Godfather, as good as the first one. Why would you want to attempt to tarnish that legacy? Because the Republican Party, there's a wing of the party now, and I know we got to get to a break. There's a wing of the party now. They don't care whether your name is Mitch Daniels, Johnny Cochran, Cab Calloway, whoever. They don't care what your name is. If you're not doing your stuff, they're going to come after you. And he didn't have that the last time he was governor.
Well, and it's also a "what have you done for me lately" situation.
Absolutely.
And for those people, nothing.
And I know we got to get to a break, but I'm telling you right now, I would have zero problems spending every single day on these airwaves holding Mitch Daniels to the same level of account we have Eric Holcomb. I have no love for any of these people. Our air staff, not to say the WIBC is the end-all be-all, but a lot of people feel this way. If he gets in there and does not promote tax reform, getting this government spending out of control, getting us off this massive Medicaid, Medicare expansion, it's a different world, Mitch. Do you really want to get involved in that?
Or do you just want to ride off into the sunset? It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Good morning.
The WIBC app.
I love it. I do. I love it.
One of the most profound inventions of the modern era. Ta-da! Keeping you informed and up to date from the convenience of your phone.
Here's what's trending.
Donnie Burgess, 93.
The conflict between Russia and Ukraine.
Gas prices have been falling.
I'm Matt Bear with traffic on the 5.
I'm Sean Herrick.
The WIBC app.
Download the app.
So that you know what's going on in the world.
In the App Store or online. Ta-da! At 93 WIBC.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly. Mortgage interest rates continue to drop, and we are working around the clock, locking our clients in before they go back up. Our average client received over $54,000 with a simple cash-out refinance. And I can structure that loan where you can miss a few months of mortgage payments. $54,000 in cash and not having to make a mortgage payment for a couple months? Now that should put you on the path to financial freedom. Start online at thehomeloanexpert.com.
The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
Tamer Nigel here for friends at Window Nation. Back to school time is here, and Window Nation can help you get an A+ in savings right now. Get 2 free windows with every 2 you buy and pay nothing until 2025. As the temperatures soar, so do your energy bills with old, inefficient windows. Stay cool, lower those bills, and raise the value of your home with new Energy Star efficient windows.
Window Nation has expertly installed over 1 million windows, rewarding and increasing value in over 150,000 homes, all with over 96% needing no follow-up service. That is an A+. Get 2 free windows with every 2 that you buy. Buy 4, get 4 for free. There's no limit. Plus, make no down payment, no payments, no interest until 2025. You'll save big during Window Nation's back-to-school sale. 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com. 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com. Tom Hammer and Nigel sent you.
This is Joe Cordell. In other ads, I've talked about the weighty matters that are on the table in divorce: assets, debts, spousal support, and of course, children. But here I want to talk to you about a troublesome issue that arises early and often in the divorce process, but which attorneys, including myself, say too little about, and that's the cost of a divorce. Yet as important as this factor is, it shouldn't overwhelm the more deserving issues that are raised by divorce. But here are just a few things that Cordell & Cordell is doing to help. We have now reduced our initial deposit or retainer. Also, there's no longer a charge for initial consultations for those who retain. And finally, we now provide on the front end a maximum fee pledge for certain modification and support matters. The bottom line is that to be a partner men can count on, we have to think about all their needs. and attorney fees are no exception.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Indianapolis area attorneys. 101 West Ohio Street, Suite 1100, Indianapolis, Indiana 46204.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
It's like a jackal from hell.
And Casey Daniels.
Want to touch the hiney?
On 93 WIBC.
A golfer is poised to become the first transgender woman to earn a Ladies Professional Golf Association Tour card. LPGA. This is after beating much of her competition in the first two qualifying rounds. Okay, so this Haley Davidson is from Scotland who lives in Florida. She shot a 70 in the first round and then hit a 76 during the second round on Friday. So that means what? She's automatically qualified to be part of the LPGA.
So this is a man who is now qualified to play women's sports.
This is a man who was played as a male golfer in 2015. 7 years ago.
Okay, so this is my question, right? And we have been trying to tell people this for a long time. And the excuse, like when Lockdown McGee courageously vetoed the trans sports bill, it's amazing where he found his little veto pen then when it's spending or taxes or anything else. Oh, no, that's fine. But he's Johnny Tough Guy when it comes to men playing women's sports. And the whole thing goes, well, this isn't happening here. Well, clearly it was happening here because somebody filed a lawsuit on it within 7 seconds of the legislature overriding the veto. And it clearly, even if it weren't happening here, it is clearly happening all across this country. So unless you think Indiana just took some sort of immunity pill where they just skip Indiana. Holcomb said it's not happening here. Just skip Indiana.
We'll do it everywhere else. But
clearly men in a variety from swimming to lifting to now golf are competing in women's sports. And my question to the women's rights activists, where are you? Why is this okay that biological men are competing in women's sports?
Yeah, women's sports was created for equality. Equal. You have your league, you give us our league, we'll compete against women, and now that's not happening, Rob.
Now, the LPGA Tour needs something to jazz it up because as someone who is an avid golf watcher, it has become a total snooze fest out there because they really lack a lot of big names. There was a time where it was Annika Sorenstam and Laura Davies and Paula Kramer and people like that who were big names that people like to watch. There is no one out there right now that people are excited about watching, but I'm not sure letting a man play women's sports is the sort of thing that you want as watch the man beat the women. I mean, where does this end? This is my question. Where does this end?
Well, somebody needs to stand up and end it now. There and now.
Holcomb said it's not happening, Casey. Holcomb said it is not, and this is just the ridiculous nature when our politicians look. If you think it's okay for men to play women's sports, then say it, but don't act like, oh, this is not happening. There is no need for this. This is not an issue. It is an issue. It's happening all over the place.
What's the point of Title IX?
Great question.
What's the point of it?
It would not serve Hoosiers well to know the answer to that, Casey.
Women fought for years to have equality in sports, to be able to have the same games. And then this happens, and you just
here's a question.
Washing all of that work away.
Your daughter played soccer, correct?
She played soccer and lacrosse for many, many years.
So how would you as a parent have felt if you're at a high school soccer or lacrosse game, a game that involves a high level of physicality? At least golf, there's no physical contact, right? You're not, running into people or tackling people or running over people. How would you have felt if there was a biological man out there who, through genetics...
It's not fair. You don't even need to finish the sentence.
Where would you be?
It's not fair. And you know what? She would probably throw a hip into somebody because she was good like that. But, the thing is that I spent so long in northern Indiana because she wanted to play lacrosse, and there wasn't a girls' lacrosse club or team. They had boys' teams.
No.
And so I spent so much time and energy making the girls' lacrosse club.
Oh.
Not only for the young girls, but then they transitioned up into the high school age.
Sure.
And it's just the time and effort put into that so that there could be equality. I mean, the organization is huge now with hundreds of girls playing, but it was 0 years ago because they just didn't have it for girls. And to think that I put all that time and effort for somebody to come in who was a biological male to say, now I'm going to play on this team, it's not fair.
Yes.
Women's sports was created for equality. Let's keep it that way. If not, just rip up Title IX and let's move on.
All right. That was awesome. More of that.
More of that. You know I get all sweaty when I get worked up.
I like it.
All right, more of that. We're going to continue to stay worked up. It's a Monday. We're glad you're here. Thanks for listening. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
There's a reason Comcast Business powers more businesses than any other provider. Actually, there's a few. Comcast Business offers the fastest, reliable network, the peace of mind that comes with Security Edge, helping to protect all your connected devices, and the most reliable 5G mobile network. Want me to keep going? I can. Whether your small business is starting or growing, you need Comcast Business. Technology solutions that put you ahead and give you serious savings. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Get internet and security for just $60 a month when you add mobile and save $480 your first year. Plus, ask how to get a $500 prepaid card with a qualifying gig bundle. Limited time offer, restrictions apply. Requires EcoBill and AutoPay. New Comcast Business 250 megabits per second internet and Security Edge customers only. 2-year agreement required. Equipment installation, taxes, and other fees extra and subject to change. Must add mobile within 90 days of internet install and keep all services for 12 months to receive discount. Comcast Business Mobile utilizes the network with the most Root Metrics 5G data reliability wins in 2H 2021. Results may vary. Award is not an endorsement.
So we've talked about how Galaxy Concrete Coatings can make your garage look fantastic. We've mentioned they'll do your patio as well. But this year, as you're closing down the pool, check out your pool decking area because Galaxy Concrete Coatings can make that space look fantastic too. And you get to pick the color. It could match the pool liner. Call them 317-751-9070. Find them online, galaxyconcretecoatings.com. And next year, when you open up the pool, it'll be even better. 317-751-9070. That's Galaxy Concrete Coatings.
Terry Stacy, along with my husband David, for Exercise Inc., the 20-minute once-a-week workout. It changed my life, and now my husband David is in the best shape of his life thanks to Exercise Inc. He eats better, he has more energy, he's never been stronger, and he's really super excited about golf season because he says Exercise Inc. has changed his game.
It's true, and I've told you before, and I've got the scorecards to prove it. Since I've gained strength, my overall game is much better. But the biggest difference is I walk, I don't drive.
But wait a second. I see you leaving the car. You're not walking all the way to the golf course.
No, of course not. I don't walk 25 miles to the golf course. I walk the course. I don't ride in a golf cart. Although in a few more sessions with Coach Kyle at Exercise Inc., I may be walking to the golf course.
Okay, well, Exercise Inc. See lasting results with a 20-minute once-a-week workout that will change your life, too. Get stronger, lose weight, get healthier this summer. 4 locations. Visit exerciseinc.com.
Why? Just think about it. Why is the #1 selling brand of chainsaws not sold at Lowe's or the Home Depot? We can give you over 10,000 reasons. That's how many authorized local steel dealers you can find across the country. Visit one and you'll find a range of dependable gas and battery-powered tools, from trimmers to blowers. And you'll find service from experienced professionals. Real Steel. Find yours at steelusa.com. Lowe's and Home Depot are trademarks of their respective companies.
Just 3 words tell you everything you need to know. They tell you why we employ more than 2,000 workers at our factory in Virginia Beach, and why over 10,000 local steel dealers are putting battery power in the hands of Americans. Just 3 words. Made in America. Real Steel. Find yours at steelusa.com. The majority of steel products sold in America are made in America of U.S. and foreign materials. Batteries and chargers are sourced internationally.
Learn how a Retire Shield plan from Crown Haven Wealth Advisors provides clear, straightforward retirement solutions that are custom tailored for you. This Sunday on WIBC from 9 to 10 a.m.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Onward and upward. It's cloudy and 69 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:31. Though U.S. dignitaries visiting Taiwan has not been met with warm feelings from China, that hasn't stopped Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb.
The Indiana-Taiwan agreement is focused on building upon those economic ties in critical industries, semiconductors, ag, bioscience, advanced manufacturing and technology.
Holcomb speaking in a meeting in Taiwan with tech company heads as well as Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen. Holcomb also plans to visit South Korea later this week. Another 1.8 million doses of monkeypox vaccine became available today. The FDA has issued an emergency use authorization to stretch a single dose of the vaccine into 5 doses. More than 14,000 monkeypox infections have been reported in the U.S., with there being 102 in Indiana, says the CDC. Joseph Newgarden has now won 5 races this season, yet he is still only second in the championship standings.
You got to win these races when you're in position to do it, and I wanted to close that one out really badly.
He won the IndyCar Bommarito 500 Saturday to leap him into from 5th to 2nd in the IndyCar standings. Behind Will Power, he'll look to take the top spot in the series next in the next 2 weeks or so when they go to Portland. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Thank you so much for being here on your Monday. That's how we like to kick the week off. It's 10:32, and we invite you to join us on YouTube. If you'd like to see the show and not only listen, just type in Kendall and Casey, WIBC, in the YouTube search bar, and you can join the chat, join the conversation. We appreciate everybody who's engaging online with us.
Yes, and we are now, it's usually say 1st of September, but it's close enough now in the modern political era. We are in go time for politics, right? The political season is upon us, and with early voting starting, earlier and earlier every single year, it's time. And coming up, really 1st September, we're going to start interviewing candidates in earnest for these various positions. We've got one coming on later on today. We're going to talk to the guy running against Jim Lucas. Oh man, old Jimmy is the gift that keeps on giving.
You did that on purpose, too.
Well, yes.
Yes, I did.
Yes, and we'll have some editorial comment on Jim Lucas coming up in a little bit, but we've talked about this many times, that the number one thing that people will vote on this year in Indiana is the Secretary of State's race. And it's true because, number one, we saw the importance of this office in 2020, where Connie Lawson did absolutely nothing, even though she had the power to do a great deal, as Eric Holcomb shut the state down. They oversee elections in the state. And it's amazing the Republicans are still complaining about elections in Indiana when they've had this office for 30 years. And, I've told you many times, I think the Republican nominee for Secretary of State, Diego Morales, is a great danger to the state of Indiana. Not the sense that the guy's a terrorist or something like that, but he's an incompetent buffoon. And when you are putting someone like that in charge of all of these super important things, that is a recipe for absolute disaster. And, we've talked a lot about people need to get right on this one. They need to do their homework on this election. They need to put their partisan beliefs aside because there is too much at stake in terms of the Secretary of State's race coming up in 2022. And that's aside from the fact that the Republican Party dominance is largely based on a monopoly on being able to control the elections in this state. They control all the election boards. They control who goes where and who does what. And you have a chance to break that up with your vote in the Secretary of State's race this fall. So obviously, I've become a big fan of Jeff Moore. I've offered to.
Makes a lot of sense, especially when it comes to certifying elections.
He's too nice. That's what I tell him all the time. He is too nice of a guy, but it's a perfect office to have a nice, competent person running. So, I've said, look, I'll help the guy out however I can, volunteer however I can. Yes.
I'm just thinking, when I think of Jeff Moore, I think this is a guy who wants to get into office and make changes and do the right things for the state of Indiana. And I think of Diego Morales, he just wants to win. He just wants a job.
I am sick of the Republican Party monopoly in this state, and I'm sick of them rigging the game in their favor. And things need to change because the Republican Party's governance is not for the betterment of the state of Indiana. It is for the betterment of the Republican Party. It is for
the individual.
Absolutely, 100% correct. It is better for the betterment of the politician, the donor, the lobbyist. Again, Casey, they took $1,500 of everyone's money
And gave you $2.
And gave you $200 back.
Well, you, not me. I didn't get any of that.
You didn't get
back.
nothing.
I didn't get none of that.
And many people have gotten nothing. And they walk around and think that that's okay. They're patting themselves on the back right now. And so we had a chance to sit down and talk with Jeff Moore on Friday. And we talked to him primarily because our good friend Donald Rainwater was with him, too. And we love Rainwater here. So here's that conversation. The race beginning to heat up for Secretary of State. That's why you're here. Jeff, we'll start with you. So you've enlisted Rainwater as your campaigner in chief. That is the best you could do.
It's good to be with you, Rob. No, Don's been a friend for years, and it's really a privilege to come full circle here and be working together in this campaign for greater ballot access.
Now, obviously, you're running for Secretary of State, and any chance I get to hang out with Rainwater, I'm on board. You said, "Can I bring Rainwater with me?" I said, "Sure." Don, how much more fun is it to be campaigning for someone versus being the campaigner?
Well, it's kind of a mixed bag. I enjoy being able to promote my own thoughts and listen to voters, but it's also nice to be able to show folks that it's not just me, that there are lots of libertarians in Indiana who are worth voting for, and Jeff's at the top of the list.
When you go out and meet people, I always picture, well, there's no one listening, and then clearly there's tens of thousands of people that are listening because I'm sitting in a room, basically, Casey, myself, Kevin, doing the show. When you go out on the trail, are you meeting lots of people that say, "Hey, man, I voted for you. That was really cool"? Are you meeting lots of those people?
Absolutely. There are folks all over the state of Indiana that walk up to me and say, "Hey, I voted for you." There are also folks that are coming up to me, and Rob, you'll enjoy this, that come up and say, "I didn't vote for you, but I wished I had."
Well, that doesn't do you any good now.
Well, no, but it does lead right into what's important about November 8th of 2022, which is electing a better Secretary of State than what we've had for the last, 30 years?
Yeah, that's right. Jeff Moore, Donald Rainwater, our guest. Okay, Jeff, so I was flipping through my social media account the other day, and I do that a lot less than I used to, and I saw some glowing review of you in the Current in Carmel?
That's right. It was a really lovely profile.
Did you write that yourself?
I did not write that myself, but I did sit down with an interview, and Anne-Marie Shambaugh does a hero's work in covering a lot of the local issues. And I saw her just the other day before at a sort of a city council meeting about some of the local issues and drainage and construction. So she's a really great reporter for a local paper, and it's the fabric of our communities. We depend on that kind of local news coverage to understand what's happening in our communities, and I was very fortunate to have the time to sit down and get that article.
And I was telling you before we went on the air, there is no way that, let's say 10 years ago, the libertarian candidate for anything, governor, U.S. Senate, whatever, would have got an article like that, a feature like that, much less a candidate for Secretary of State. And I think it really does show how much more serious so many people are taking the Libertarian Party.
I think that can be seen, right? It's about quality of candidates, quality of the seriousness, and quality of the issues, quality of the solutions. I'm only coming to the table because I have solutions focused on audits and receipts. And I'm looking at my opponents and looking for any kind of solutions to be presented. So when we come forward with good ideas and good approaches for implementing them, the actual step-by-step of how do we get there, then people really tune in and listen and take us seriously.
Jeff Moore, our guest. He's a Libertarian candidate for Secretary of State. Donald Rainwater, our guest. Rainwater, you, at the end of your election, were kind enough to give me a giant plaque, which I have hung on my wall at home for... Well, they really should have gone to all of our listeners because they're the ones that actually voted.
Absolutely.
And it's really wild and wacky to think what an imprint the Libertarian Party made in 2020 on central Indiana and how well you did in these donut counties. And I say this all the time. Look, you are charismatic, you are charming, you are a beautiful person, all reasons to vote for you. But let's face it, the Republicans have really helped the Libertarians grow their numbers.
Well, and I think that the Republicans and the Democrats have both done a tremendous amount to wake people up to what's wrong with politics, not only at a federal level, but here in Indiana on a state level. And the more that people wake up and they realize that what they've been getting is, in a lot of ways, a con job from their government, they're looking for somebody who is real, who understands and has the same concerns and issues that they have on a daily basis. I doubt that there's very many people in state government who have to worry about, am I going to buy groceries or gasoline? And the average Hoosier is worried about that today. And I think that's one of the reasons why people are looking at Jeff, is because election integrity is a huge issue today to most Hoosiers. And they know that if they keep doing what they're doing, they'll keep getting what they're getting, and they don't want it anymore.
Rob, not only have I had the pleasure of meeting so many people who said proudly that they voted for Rainwater in 2020, but they say they vote for the person or the issue, not the party. And I think what we see here is what really is underlying our state. Our neighbors vote their principles and vote their values. And the more that they see solutions coming from libertarians and fewer solutions coming from the other old parties, that the more they're willing to change their vote in the ballot. And so this is, if we remove all labels, this is really about choosing our future. And Hoosiers are good, common sense neighbors. We all are. And we really do fundamentally want the same thing at the end of the day.
Yeah, and here's the thing with you, Moore. You're too nice and normal of a guy. And I've had this conversation with you many, many times. I've given you many, many opportunities to blowtorch the Republican Party or your Republican opponent, and you will not do it. You keep focusing on these government competencies and government accountability things. When are we going to start seeing you ripping apart your Republican opponent? Because this government competency and accountability stuff, I'm getting bored with it.
Well, Rob, there's a lot of things that I'd love to be doing in life. Very busy working for a wonderful nonprofit organization that advocates for free speech and free markets. There are all kinds of exciting technologies. And so when I took on this office and took on this race, it was because I wanted to implement a real solution, bring real solutions forward. I didn't want to sit around and call names and be mean to people. That's not why I'm doing this.
Fun.
Well, then I'll leave it to others, but I'm here to win. I'm here to bring solutions.
And being others, Rob,
yes.
I do want to remind everybody who's listening that Jeff Moore has never been asked to resign or fired from the Indiana Secretary of State's office.
Yes.
He has an impeccable reputation. And
why is he hanging out with us?
Well, sometimes we just get lucky.
Here's the question for you, Don, because you and I talked about this quite a bit, because there were many libertarians who were very mad that you associated with me in 2020 because I like Trump. I was the guy that Trump called terrific and a great dream. And you were told by many people you should not be associating with Rob because he likes Trump. And I think it's interesting how the Republicans and the Democrats and the Libertarians have gotten much better at this compared to the Republicans and Democrats, that we can be split ticket voters. I can say at the top of the ticket, hey, I really like Ron DeSantis. And if Ron DeSantis is the Republican nominee, I'm voting for him. But I'm also going to vote for Donald Rainwater if he's the Libertarian nominee. We can all live in this stew together. And so much of the two old parties is they don't want anybody else in the stew.
Well, you're right. And to be honest with you, Rob, I've never seen, and I've looked, I've perused both the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of Indiana, and I've never seen Democrat or Republican Party listed in the Constitution. There's no requirement to run for office to be a member of the Republican or Democrat Party. And I think Hoosiers, again, are waking up to the idea that we need to elect people who are focused on the right things, not on lining their pockets, not on lining the pockets of their campaign donors, but actually doing what is right and constitutional for the citizens of the state of Indiana.
Yeah, that's an interesting conversation we have with people all the time, because you still hear it. And I know you got it a lot in 2020, which is, I call it kneeling at the altar of Republican or Democrat Party politics, which is, well, you're right. Holcomb is brutally incompetent and has destroyed our state and tried to put me in jail for wearing a mask. And I really hate all that. Oh, great. You're voting for Rainwater. Well, we don't want to run the risk of a Democrat getting in there. So, and then these are the same people who act perplexed when the same crap keeps happening that they just voted for.
Absolutely. And here again, I've started telling people that, mathematics is immutable. Whoever gets the most votes wins. And if everybody who said, I would vote for the best person, but I don't want this other party to win, would vote their conscience, then the best person would win.
Yeah, and that's true with all the offices, whether it's somebody like me who sees a Republican at the top of the ticket probably being the best choice, and then libertarians down the ballot, or vice versa. You can do that. Jeff, before I let you go, Jeff Moore, libertarian candidate for Secretary of State, and Donald Rainwater, our guest. You know, it's interesting. We have a lot of fun on this show, and we give people little nicknames sometimes when they misbehave on account of the taxpayers.
I'm already thinking, No,
it's fine. I will not hold you accountable for anything I'm about to say or do. And, you know, in the case of Todd Young, he has been an egregious representative of the taxpayer in terms of the old Duke of Spendingburg, in terms of adding $11 trillion to the national debt and a variety of other votes. But Todd Young's not actually messing with the vote. Todd Young isn't actually messing with your ability to have a business and keep it open. And on this Secretary of State's race, and look, we love James Syniak, and he's a phenomenal guy. You know my opinion on Todd Young. But if there were one office that you say, you better think about this one long and hard and put your partisan bullcrap aside, it's the Secretary of State, because you're going to oversee elections. You're going to oversee businesses, keeping them open if Lockdown McGee gets frisky again over the next couple of years. And man, Diego Morales is about the last dude you'd want, based on his own track record in that office, being in charge of those things.
It's an important office, and we can't underestimate how important that is. My opponents have come out, and they have their own issues and policies that are well outside the confines of this office, and I'm staying very narrowly focused on what this office does. I'm a libertarian who believes in limited government, and that means staying within my lane. And more than that, my passion, my mission is to give you the best election possible. It's not for me to decide your votes, your policies, your issues. That's for you. It's my job, my responsibility, my solemn promise to give you the best election possible so that your voice can be heard.
All right, it's Jeff Moore. It's Donald Rainwater. By the way, you got a website or somewhere people can find your smiling face?
It's still up there. It's maurer4indiana.com, MAURER, forindiana.com, all spelled out. And from there, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and now even TikTok.
Oh, you're getting in there with China. All right, let's go. Why did you do that?
The young people are out there, and you would be amazed at just how many impressions and how much visibility and how we could spread this conversation in 15 seconds.
All right, it's 93 WIBC, the Kendall and Casey Show.
Hammer and Nigel Show, 3 o'clock this afternoon. The biggest stories of the day, and Guy Relford joins us in studio, 93 WIBC.
Kicking off week one with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Get started with $150 in free bets. That's guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just sign up with promo code WIBC to get in on that action. Then you can turn game day into payday all season long. Play your way and bet on more than just the final score. Wager on everything from touchdowns to total yards to catches. You can even combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with the same game parlay. Don't fumble your chance to get $150 in free bets, win or lose, with promo code WIBC. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 plus and present in Indiana. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Summer is full of so many wonderful smells. Barbecues, camping, and sunscreen make for amazing memories. Too bad your carpets hold on to those smells too. With the kids heading back to school, it's time to call Zero Res Carpet Cleaning. This is Denny Smith, and I only trust Zero Res and their technicians to clean my carpets with their patented ZR water that leaves my home looking its best. Right now, call 317-388-5141, mention Denny Smith, and you'll get 4 rooms of carpet clean for only $149. Or schedule at ZeroResIndy.com.
Inflating prices aren't stopping anytime soon, and that kitchen or bath remodel you've been thinking about, if you wait any longer, it's just going to get more and more expensive. You need to be planning right now. Tony Katz for Boer Remodeling. Get in touch with Boer now to get on the schedule for 2023 and avoid some of those price increases. Boer Remodeling aims to be the finest remodeler in Central Indiana with the best materials and most skilled craftsmen. They'll guide you through the entire process to make your vision come to life. Boer Remodeling, BOOHER. Talk to BoerRemodeling.com to set up your free consultation.
Feeling offbeat? Franciscan Health's nationally recognized heart team can help keep the beat of your heart steady. If you've been diagnosed with atrial fibrillation or an irregular heartbeat, Franciscan's personalized approach to heart care can help you reduce your risk of stroke, heart failure, and other complications from AFib. So tune in, because the tempo of your heart matters. Find your heart's rhythm again by scheduling an appointment at franciscanhealth.org/restore the rhythm. That's franciscanhealth.org/restore the rhythm.
Here's Terry Stacy to tell you what's going on with WIBC.
Make sure you follow WIBC on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for your chance to win tickets, other prizes, and stay up to date on the most current news in Indy. Check out our website to see where the next Home and Garden Show on the road will be. Live every Saturday starting at 9 a.m. You don't want to miss it. Be sure to tune in to Pat, Denny, and the gang on 93 WIBC.
Grab more info online at WIBC.com.
Hubler has certified service and maintenance for the life of your vehicle. Get everyday value pricing on service and parts and schedule an appointment with ease at drivehubler.com.
Hammer joins us in the studio. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. And you guys, you boys, you men, you had a fun weekend, huh? Went to a little party, a little shindig, did you? Did you get drunk? What?
We got drunk at the coach's house.
Yeah, Dan Dockage had his 60th birthday party.
Yeah, it was fun, man. Went up there and shout out to all the WIBC listeners.
Yeah, there were a bunch of them.
Yeah, it was fun. Had a good time, and everybody kept bringing us drinks. You got to sample this. You got to try that. And like,
jump off Dan's roof into his pool.
You know, we didn't want to be antisocial, so.
You got to do it then, right?
Right.
So what were you drinking? Was it whiskey or bourbon? What'd you have?
There was this big bottle of tequila, and it was kind of similar to what you would find at Carb Day, where it's the snake pit juice, where everybody just drinks out of the same thing.
Yeah.
Now, I know in today's society, with the Rona and the monkeypox and all that stuff going around, it's probably frowned upon, but when in Rome...
Yeah, don't threaten Hammer with a good time.
I was drinking tequila out of this big thing, and it was fun. And again, shout out to all the WIBC listeners that were there. People came up, oh, I love the show. It's awesome. Just good, fun day to be outside.
Yeah. So big news for you. Your television show returns this weekend.
It does. And I'm thinner, and I got my hair cut today.
I was going to mention you got a haircut. It looks nice.
I look really good today.
You're camera ready.
I am ready to roll.
Banking on you doing some stress eating this week leading up to your show to keep you from making your weight.
No, I do stress drinking more than anything else, so we'll see what happens there.
That's why I kept handing Hammer beers on Saturday.
Right,
Hammer, you haven't had enough calories.
You're trying to get another $5.
You don't want this light beer. Have this thick, dark lager.
Drink a stout.
Chug this Guinness.
Right.
Another turkey leg, Mr. Hammer?
Have a cookie. They're delicious.
No, but we have a soft rollout of college football games this Saturday. There's like 10, 12 games on the schedule. I think like Nebraska Northwestern is the signature game this Saturday. But then after this weekend, it really ramps up. I mean, it's all systems go.
Okay, so Labor Day's coming up, long holiday weekend, right? And I was thinking about getting out of town. Where could I go? And I was kind of looking around the Tennessee area, and I thought, oh, well, this would be great. I can go down and see a Tennessee football game, right? But they're playing on Thursday.
Yeah.
Now, what's going on with all of these teams starting on a Thursday?
Certain teams realize they can get a national audience if they play on Thursday because football's king in America.
Yeah.
Because on Saturday, like your signature game is Notre Dame and Ohio State.
Oh, poor Notre Dame. They're going to start the season off with a
Next couple days, you've got some really good matchups too. So Tennessee is like, listen, we're playing Ball State. What can we do to get a few more eyeballs on the program here? I know, we'll go go prime time on a Thursday night. So that's going to happen, and they get national television exposure.
So when and where could people view you on the television?
So this Saturday, this weekend, it's only Saturday because there's no NFL. This Saturday, Wish TV from 11 to noon. Myself, Scott Long, and our new female co-host, Danielle McConnell.
Have you instructed Long this year to get his points in 30 seconds or less?
There's a side bet you can make on our show of how long it's going to take for Scott to get through a break and until we run this female co-host out.
Because you went through like 9 last year, I think. Good, they had to bring a man in at one point.
All Indiana bets is like Menudo. Once a female co-host gets to a certain point, boom, she's out and we have to bring in somebody else.
Hey, you mentioned this, and it's really true, and maybe this little preview of what you're going to talk about this afternoon. There's a lot of local stuff going on right now.
Right. So this afternoon, we are going to have the latest on this vote of confidence or no confidence happening from law enforcement against the Marion County justice system. I don't think there's anything like this happening in the country. So this is really interesting here. And of course, we're going to be following the story out of the Hamilton Southeastern School District and how they can't stop stepping on their own crank here. One mistake after the other. Last week, we had a couple stories of them being woke. That was kind of ridiculous. And now this story about this defund the police project or poster, whatever it was that was in a classroom that was there to greet the younger brother of fallen Elwood officer Noah Shanavaz. This story is crazy. It's disgusting. And the more you read into it, the more you read about this radical lunatic teacher, the angrier you get.
Real quick before we go, how much did I embarrass myself going all Chris Farley fanboy on Brian Sloan over the weekend?
You text your dad, I'm at a party with Dan Dockich and IU guys. Brian Sloan's here.
Jason Allen Hammer, he's a national treasure. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Good morning.
Garage Doors of Indianapolis is everything that's right about Central Indiana. They've been locally family-owned for 50 years, helping our local economy remain strong by employing 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis is proud to do business right here in the great state of Indiana. They're a conservative-minded company that shares our values and stands by their products and services. You can call Garage Doors of Indianapolis today for service today. 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com.
It's a grand slam of savings at Masters Heating and Cooling. Save $500 on a complete Carrier heating and air conditioning system, plus 10-year parts and labor warranty with special financing and zero money down with approved credit. Turn to the experts for utility and energy savings up to $1,490. It's a total incentive package of nearly $3,200. Upgrade with Masters Heating and Cooling today. Details online at mastersheatcool.com.
Masters. What QC Kinetics is doing for people here in Indy is nothing short of amazing. Tony Katz here, and if you have joint pain, any joint pain, you need to call QC Kinetics. They are the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, giving lasting relief with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. QC Kinetics started with one clinic last year, but the demand has been so strong, they now have clinics in Eagle Creek, in Greenwood, and more on the way. Modern advances in regenerative medicine allow these medical professionals to take the remarkable healing properties from your own body, concentrate them for maximum power, and put them directly into your aching joints so your damaged tissue can be repaired and restored naturally. So many people are living their best life again, pain-free, thanks to QC Kinetics. If you have pain in your knees, your hips, your back, your shoulder, do not let them keep you on steroids, and don't believe surgery is your only option. Call QC Kinetics now in Eagle Creek and Greenwood. It's a totally free consultation. 463-235-7160. In Eagle Creek and Greenwood, 463-235-7160. That's 463-235-7160.
Coming up in 2 minutes, John Herrick reports on Governor Holcomb's trip to Taiwan, plus how Illinois is preparing for Indiana's abortion ban. And what's next for the plan when it comes to the Colts game against Tampa Bay for the preseason. That and more coming up from the Shepherd Community Center studios on 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis.
What were they looking for and why? I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. A federal judge formally rejects a government request to completely seal the affidavit used to get the search warrant on former President Trump's home in Florida. The Justice Department has until noon Thursday to submit proposed redactions to that document.
While Attorney General Merrick Garland pushed to release the search warrant in the case, he does not want this affidavit released. That would include the probable cause for a search and to announce what crime, if any, Trump committed that DOJ is looking at. It's really a roadmap for the DOJ investigation. So Garland and his team do not want it out there, not to mention DOJ officials don't want it out there because they believe it may chill people and stop people from coming forward and cooperating in this case.
Fox's David Spunt. The search for a missing girl may be over.
The volunteer dive group called Adventures with Purpose says it has found the body of Kylie Rodney near where she was last seen in Truckee, California 2 weeks ago. The Placer County Sheriff's Office, which has been leading the official search for Rodney, has not confirmed the discovery. The volunteer group made the announcement in a Facebook post on Sunday, saying her body was found in a submerged Honda CR-V in Prosser Lake.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. 3 law enforcement officers in Arkansas are taken off the job under investigation for a beating caught on bystander video.
2 deputies with the Crawford County, Arkansas Sheriff's Office, along with a Mulberry police officer, are now suspended after being seen on a video posted online beating and bludgeoning a suspect they say was making threats at a gas station and then who attacked a deputy when confronted. On the video, the suspect, 27-year-old Ray Worcester, is already pinned down, yet the deputies and officer continue to repeatedly strike him and slam his face into the pavement. The suspect is now in jail. Eben Brown, Fox News.
Stocks are down across the board this morning on Wall Street. The Dow is down around 500 points. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Appreciating the business. It's cloudy and 70 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. Indiana's Governor Eric Holcomb has become the first U.S. governor to visit Taiwan since before COVID. John Herrick reports.
In Taiwan this morning, he said,
The Indiana-Taiwan agreement is focused on building upon those economic ties in critical industries, semiconductors, ag, bioscience, advanced manufacturing, and technology.
Holcomb is also visiting South Korea this week. He says the purpose of this trip is to strengthen Indiana's economic, academic, and cultural connections with both Taiwan and South Korea. He'll be back to Indiana on Saturday. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Abortion in Indiana will become almost completely illegal September 15th. In Illinois, it is still quite the opposite, meaning some Hoosier women will likely jump the border for reproductive care.
We've done a lot of work in order to increase our capacity to meet that need, both in terms of our staff members and our brick and mortar clinic.
Julie Ewell with Planned Parenthood of Illinois talking to Indy Politics. They've opened 2 more locations close to the Indiana border, and she expects thousands of women from all over the country to come to Illinois for access to abortions. There were 5 coronavirus deaths in the last week, according to the State Department of Health. That's down 3 deaths from the week before. The number of COVID infections is down nearly 200 from the prior week as well. It was a loss to the Lions, but the Indianapolis Colts are progressing well towards week 1, says head coach Frank Reich. The starters will get more playing time in their final preseason game against the Buccaneers.
Mindset's going to be go for a half. We'll adjust as we go. But just go in there thinking that we're playing a half, and then we'll adjust. If we get done what we need to get done sooner than that, then maybe we adjust.
The Colts likely to make more roster cuts this week to trim down towards the required 53-player roster. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hey, Becky, what about this beat for your next song?
It's cool, but I'm into faster stuff lately. Like Xfinity that gives me beyond gig speeds.
Got it. What about this then?
It sounds powerful, just like Xfinity. Because its supersonic Wi-Fi has 3 times the bandwidth, you can connect hundreds of devices at once.
That's what I call power.
Unbeatable internet from Xfinity. Made to do anything so you can do anything.
Get the Xfinity Supersonic Bundle with unlimited gig speed internet, Wi-Fi equipment included, and a free 4K streaming box, all for $50 a month with a 2-year internet rate guarantee and no annual contract when you add Xfinity Mobile at regular rates. Go to Xfinity.com/gig, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. New Gigabit Extra internet customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. After 24 months, regular rates apply. Requires compatible gateway.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
The Republican Party in Indiana sees zero problem in record spending, in record taxation.
And Casey Daniels.
You went out there and said, please vote for me. You debated other people on why you're the better person for the position. Suck it up.
This is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Monday, August 22nd, and things that are trending this hour. Pinocchio. Disney is remaking Pinocchio into a live action version. Pinocchio will be a real boy. Also trending, Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm. She's being mocked for touting a 30% tax credit on solar panels, and the mocking will continue on this very program in about 20 minutes. Also trending, $300,000. According to the Wall Street Journal, a middle-income family might spend more than $18,000 a year on average for food, housing, haircuts, and sports on a child, thus raising the overall cost of having one to $300,000.
That's over the course of the life of a child?
Correct.
Is that right?
Yes. Are you prepared for that?
Well, I thought it might be more expensive. That seems rather reasonable. Is there a way I could just buy that right now? Could I just buy that cost now?
And have it, spread out over the child's lifetime? No, because inflation will change that number over the years. It's 6 minutes after 11. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So the younger brother of a slain Indiana police officer spent one of his first days back to school confronted with a defund the police poster.
Unbelievable.
In his English language arts class.
This is unbelievable. So friend of the show, Tony Kennett, broke this story over at Chalkboard Review. So this is the brother of the slain
police officer.
Elwood police officer, Noah Shanavaz. And so the brother finally had gone back to school.
Yeah, they had taken a few weeks off to grieve the loss.
Sure. And absolutely
of their brother.
Yeah, absolutely tragic event. The guy died a hero. I mean, it doesn't
killed
make
in the line of duty.
Doesn't make it any easier. And obviously, this guy's, you would think everybody knows who this kid is, right? It's not like we had no idea this was, Freddie's. Everybody knew who this kid was. It's not even if you didn't know, it's not like it's a common name. It's a very, distinctive last name.
Yeah.
And so he goes back to school.
Well, you know what? Before he goes back to school, though, the Shanavaz family met with the Fisher High School's administration about him coming back to school. Quite an ordeal the family has been through. So let's treat him with kid gloves.
Right. And it's totally understandable. And you would do that. And again, it comes back to what we talked about earlier. If indeed it is for the children, as every time the teachers union does or does not do something, we're always told when they throw the children up as human shields, it's for the children. Wouldn't you be super cognizant of this person just went through a high-profile, horrific event that will probably take them years to get over and will plague them in many cases well into adulthood as it would any normal person?
Yeah.
Shouldn't we, on the first day back,
be very aware?
And so he goes into this English class, and there's a defund the police poster up on the wall in his English class, his high school English class. First of all, why is there anything about defunding the police in a high school English class to begin with? And second of all, you care so little about these kids, and you're so wed to your damn political ideology that this teacher is clearly so radical, and that's what matters most, that you leave that up when a high school kid whose brother was assassinated in the line of duty comes into that classroom. This isn't about kids. The teacher's excuse was it was an oversight, right?
Yeah.
He missed it. What, you can't take a cursory glance around the classroom and go, hey, anything that might really upset this kid whose brother was just assassinated in the line of duty? Anything in here that might, trigger that in some capacity? I don't buy that for a second.
Yeah, take a look around. Well, she says that it was a piece of artwork from the previous year that she had forgotten to take down. It was on the front of a desk.
Yeah. Well, and it's an insight, though, into what your kids are being indoctrinated with, first of all. But that's beside the point.
Right.
It is totally sidebar, 100% secondary to what the egregious behavior by this teacher here. But it is an insight into what your kids are learning every single day. And it's why we talked about earlier, record numbers of kids are leaving the public education system because their parents are wising up and are sick of this crap. I know Bethesda out in Brownsburg, the private Christian school there, they cannot keep teachers there fast enough. I mean, they cannot get them in fast enough because so many parents, especially in the Brownsburg and these Hendricks County schools, many of them that are going rapidly left, are saying, we don't want any part of this. And instead of waking up and the school system's learning a lesson, they're doubling and tripling down. This is a level of egregious that I just can't, I could not even, Tony sent me this story the moment it went up, and I said, I can totally believe it, but yet at the same time, I can't believe that this teacher would be that callous to force that kid to be subjected to that.
This teacher is also the sponsor. You're going to love this.
Oh.
You're actually going to hate this. The sponsor for the Mental Health Club.
Sure, right. Mm-hmm. That seems 100% perfect.
She may not be the best choice as a sponsor for the Mental Health Club.
We discussed this when we talked about the Mitch Daniels interview that he did in Politico, and it's right, and it's something that a lot of people are not talking about. But the number one thing the next governor is going to have to take on, because Holcomb not only won't take it on, he supports this stuff. Holcomb is totally in bed with the radical left education agenda. It's why he does nothing to curb it. It's why he endorsed Jennifer McCormick when she ran for superintendent. Then when she didn't play ball with him on some stuff, he put his own person in there who totally endorses it. It's why the legislature won't do anything about it in terms of, you could curb a lot of this by forcing school board elections to be like every single other election in the state and be partisan elections. Why is it, Casey, if the Republican Party, who controls everything in the state, did not want this radical leftism to be taking place in public schools, that there's only one office in the state that is, air quote, nonpartisan, and it's the last one that shouldn't be partisan? Why is it? Surveyor, coroner, partisan elections. There's one election in the state that is not partisan, that you don't have to identify a political party. And it's school board. And nobody will lift a damn finger to do anything about it because they want this crap in there, because the Republicans in the state are totally petrified of the teachers union. And the next governor of the state of Indiana, because Holcomb will not do it, the Republicans in the legislature are far too cowardice to do anything about it, is going to have to lead on reforming the public education system and stopping this.
Well, you mentioned our dear governor. A third U.S. delegation arrived in Taiwan on Sunday, and among the group, Eric Holcomb.
Wait, he went where?
He's in Taiwan right now.
He's in Taiwan.
Yeah, he's the first U.S. governor to visit Taiwan since the pandemic broke out.
So wait. So Taiwan, who's right next to China. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And Eric Holcomb went over there because, why?
He's touring the semiconductor.
Oh, is this like when he went to Davos to hang out with Klaus Schwab, when he was doing touring over there?
Mm-hmm.
This guy... I was thinking about this during the break, and I was thinking things that I can legally say and keep my job here at this radio station. This guy is
There's two of us here, so come on.
Yeah. No, you'll be fine without me, Casey. It'll be great. This guy, and this is the most unemotional, accurate assessment I can give of Eric Holcomb. He is more interested in the perks of the job than doing the job. This is a guy who always stood behind the scenes, was always the little assistant to the person who actually had the power. And through the greatest conspiracy / accident in Indiana history. I mean, don't forget, Eric Holcomb was a distant third in a U.S. Senate primary in 2016. Marlin Stutzman was easily going to be the U.S. Senate nominee in the Republican Party. And magically, and look, I know some of our audience is a believer in coincidences, but for those of us that live in realism, Eric Holcomb, despite being a distant third in the U.S. Senate primary, having never run anything in his life, was magically deemed the most qualified person to be the lieutenant governor of the state of Indiana when Sue Ellspermann, who had refused to negatively campaign with Mike Pence against John Gregg because Sue Ellspermann rightly believed, you made your bed, Pence, you're going to have to sleep in it, just suddenly became the most qualified person to run Ivy Tech. It is amazing, Casey, that in a state of 7 million people, that worked out just fine. So you can either believe that's a coincidence or that was all designed. And then in the luckiest break for the donor lobbyist crowd that they could have never imagined, Mike Pence somehow gets picked to be the vice president, and this guy who never won anything, he became the governor without ever winning an election up until the actual election itself, gets to be the governor of the state. He has no qualification to be governor, and he has governed like it. And you find time and time again, when your people are hurting here at home, he is more interested in being able to glad hand and what was it, juggernaut? Was that jaunternaut? What was the word that our chat came up with? He's playing governor. Gallivanting. He's playing governor. He has absolutely no interest in actually governing, because if he did, he wouldn't allow his state government to sit on $1,300 of other people's money who he took with no use for. Instead, he's more interested in getting headlines and photo ops.
Globetrotting.
And here's my big question, okay? So when Nancy Pelosi goes to Taiwan, you can be good, mad, glad, happy, or sad about it.
Yeah.
But at least Nancy Pelosi has a national security infrastructure behind her. What sort of infrastructure did the governor take with him? Because last time I checked, maybe they can correct me if I'm wrong, he doesn't have Secret Service protection. Who is protecting the national interest of Indiana in from a cybersecurity perspective? Unless, did somebody donate all the electronic devices that'll be thrown in a river somewhere on their way back?
So you're saying there's no way that this passel of Hoosiers in Taiwan did not go without their laptops or their iPads or their cell phones?
No way.
And the second that they turn those on and use them, they're miles
from China.
From China.
And I know Eric Holcomb, because he's a gutless coward, will tell me, well, it would not serve Hoosiers well to know what I was doing to protect your interest. But keep in mind, once they're in, they're into everyone's stuff. So that's my question to Lockdown McGee, and everybody should be asking this. And
did they take a cybersecurity officer with them?
And heaven forbid that anyone in the local media get off their ass and actually ask this guy a question of relevance. But it might serve Hoosiers well to know what security steps were taken to know that China is not currently manipulating and having access to all of our data.
Yeah.
I realize I'm a bad person for asking that
very
question.
Very legit question.
And
because they're taking their electronics with them.
And heaven forbid the governor actually do a job of governing in the state of Indiana. The guy is way more interested in the perks of being governor than actually doing the job of governor. And I cannot wait to no longer have to say this guy's name anymore.
He's Rob Kendall. My name is Casey Daniels. It's 93 WIBC. And coming up next, that Jennifer Granholm, the social media touting that she's been doing is getting her some hot water. And that's on deck from 93 WIBC.
This is what's happening.
Man accused of killing Elwood police officer Noah Shanavez.
Standing here with the family. My name is Matt Shanavez, the state of Indiana. Noah's my firstborn son, will be seeking the death penalty. My family misses Noah more than words can express.
The latest updates.
For the FBI to do what they did when clearly 50% of America strongly supports Donald Trump.
Stay current.
Taiwan has demonstrated incredible restraint.
The story continues on 93 WIBC.
College football is back. It's time to enjoy the tradition, the fun, and the great offers from DraftKings Sportsbook. To celebrate the best time of the year, new customers can bet just $5 on any team and get $200 in free bets instantly, win or lose. You can also place a same-game parlay for a shot at an even bigger payout. Just combine multiple bets into one, like which team will get the win, which team to score first, and more. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code WIBC. Bet just $5 on college football and get $200 in free bets instantly. That's code WIBC only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Indiana only. One per new customer. Minimum $5 deposit and wager. $200 issued as 8 $25 free bets. Restrictions apply. See terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Hello, this is Joe Cordell. Divorce touches all areas of your life. Family, friends, career, retirement. Few things in life affect so much. At Cordell & Cordell, we have a lot of experience protecting these interests for clients across America. In the process, we've come to know our clients pretty well. If you're a guy facing divorce, your chief concern, if you have kids, is to preserve your role in their lives. As to assets, you probably prefer tax-deferred savings over cash, and you likely would rather give up an asset than to pay maintenance. Also, lest you think we didn't notice, you want to pay as little to divorce lawyers as possible. Look, Cordell & Cordell can be successful only if our clients walk away feeling good about us. That means they feel not only that the result was the best possible in the circumstances, but also that their attorney fees were both reasonable and affordable. If this seems right to you, then let us be the partner that you count on.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Indianapolis area attorneys. 101 West Ohio Street, Suite 1100, Indianapolis, Indiana 46204.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
He's just a little crazy.
And Casey Daniels.
Oh, man, she's fascinating.
On 93 WIBC.
Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm faced criticism on social media after she said Americans who are being crushed by the weight of inflation, well, you could just lower your energy costs by installing solar panels. You're going to get a 30% discount, too. That, of course, is under the Inflation Reduction Act. I did a little shopping. You know I have to do that.
Yes, I know.
You get a Bosch 300 Series Top Control 24-inch built-in dishwasher, stainless steel from Energy Star for the low price of $879.
Oh, $879.
Mm-hmm. You've got that right in your back pocket.
Oh, sure.
How about a 4.8 cubic foot smart white front load washer with odor block, ultra fresh vent system, and sanitizer? $1,049.
Very reasonable. Mm-hmm. So play you this clip of Jennifer Granholm, the Energy Secretary, and when I was watching this clip, it's just time to say it, Casey, and it pains me to say this, but we should say it out loud. We are now a largely a socialist country. We still have some remnants of capitalism floating around, mainly to embolden select people, but we need to start having the courage to say it out loud. I mean, you think about what is going on in our country right now. We are run by very corrupt people who, if they couldn't rule by threat of force, and that by threat of force we mean threat of gun, they couldn't run a lemonade stand if their life depended on it. Everything is paid for by someone else, either currently through our tax code, which is highly rigged, or through, and most of the time, through future generations in which we are, and when they take money from someone else and give it to someone else, they lie and tell you it's, quote, free. They print money, as I mentioned, like it's going out of style to fund this stuff that future generations will pay for. It's devaluing the spending power and freedom of every single American on a daily basis. And most of all, the government gives specific benefits to specific people if you can afford to engage in the behavior that they promote. Look, I don't think we're assassinating people left and right or sending them to gulags yet, but in terms of the structural the actions that are taking place in the structure of this economy now, again, let me say it out loud to you. We are run by very corrupt people who rule by threat of force. Everything is paid for by someone else. They lie to you and tell you that it's free. They print money like it's going out of style to pay for the stuff that other people who don't have a vote on it, in many cases aren't even alive yet, will pay for. It is devaluing the buying power and the liberty and freedom of every single person, and you get all sorts of benefits if you hang out with and engage in behavior that a select group of people promote. What if that is not what is that? If it's not so, what is that if that's not socialism? So why don't we just have the courage to say it now? Let's just end the home of the brave, the land of the free bull crap, and just say, we like you and we promote you and we will reward you if you do exactly what we say. Why don't we have the courage to call it what it is?
No, I've got a better idea. Let's vote these people out of office.
Well, hey, you're preaching to the choir. Let's listen to, and you tell me if what I just laid out for you is not what you hear from this woman, Jennifer Granholm, right here. Take a listen.
And really, you could make the same argument. We were talking about tax breaks for adding solar panels, energy efficient windows, appliances, heat pumps. What do you say to the families who simply can't afford this stuff in the first place?
Well, number one, for your home, yes, there are significant incentives in this bill, which is great, to reduce people's energy costs on a monthly basis. So if you are low income, you can get your home entirely weatherized through the expansion from the bipartisan infrastructure law, a significant expansion. You don't have to pay for anything. If you want heat pumps, insulation, new windows, that is covered. If you are moderate income, today you can get 30% off the price of solar panels. Those solar panels can be financed, so you don't have to have the big outlay at the front. And when they're financed in a way that reduces your energy bill, even though you have solar panels. With this 30% off, it's a significant incentive. Same thing with if you don't qualify for the weatherization program, you will be able to, starting next year, get rebates on the appliances and equipment that will help you reduce your monthly energy bill by up to 30%. This is all about reducing costs for people.
And yet the electricity prices continue to go up.
She was asked, if you can't afford it in the first place, what are you going to do? And then she just goes on with this diatribe of all these things you need to spend money on. She said, you don't have to pay for anything. Anything, Rob. It's all free. 30% off the price of solar panels. Well, they're going to keep you warm this winter, but they're made in China, so that's cool. How many low-income families own a home?
That's a great question.
And in the time of millionaires and billionaires and inflation and stagnant wages, what is low income now?
Well, and you hit on a great point, and I think that's a phenomenal thing to get into, which is how many low-income people own a home, period, and two, who owns the home? It's a landlord. Yeah. So what, is that landlord supposed to just do this and then go, yeah, I'll just eat the cost on that? Yeah, no, that's no problem. These people, and it's government collective, we're picking on Granholm and Biden because they're the ones doing it now, but the Republicans do this stuff in their own way all the time too. They couldn't run anything. They are incapable of succeeding in the private sector, and yet here they are with their theories and their pontification destroying the very crux of what makes America great, which is the freedom of movement, the freedom of purchase, the freedom of assembly, the freedom of engagement. If you want it, if it works for you, buy it. You have the freedom to do it. If you don't. The government should not be rewarding people based on nonsensical gobbledygook.
Oh, you're talking about the tax breaks? 30% off this, 80% off this. It's like she's hosting a lifestyle show, giving out pricing. Yes. It's on sale now. Call today. You know what it makes me think of? Oh my gosh, she's hosting a game show. Here it comes from the WIBC studios. Oh, I love your applause. It's radio's most exciting hour with fantastic prizes. The fabulous 3-hour Kendall and Casey show. Now, here we go with the first tax breaks from the Biden administration. Come on down. If you're a moderate income today, you get 30% off the price of solar panels. The Inflation Reduction Act includes thousands of dollars in tax breaks and rebates for homeowners. Households that fall between 80 and 150% of the area median income are eligible for rebates up to 50% off their cost. And now, here is the star of the administration from the Energy Department, the Secretary, Jennifer Granholm.
Well done.
Oh, thank you. That's your Monday smiler.
That's brilliant.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Good morning.
Did you know 96% of Americans lose an average of $111,000 in Social Security income? It's true. 96% of Americans lose an average of $111,000 in Social Security income. And it's all because they claim their benefits at the wrong time. Learn how you could avoid this with a free, customized Social Security analysis from Bill Demery, your retirement guy. If you've saved at least $200,000 for retirement and have not filed for Social Security, Schedule your free analysis now by calling 317-972-9172. Don't lose tens of thousands of dollars in Social Security income that's rightfully yours. Schedule your free analysis now by calling 317-972-9172. 317-972-9172.
At Diamonds Direct, you know what we do. But let's be honest, there are a lot of places you can buy diamonds and fine jewelry. But it's not just our products and prices that set us apart. It's our passion. At the very core of Diamonds Direct is an overwhelming desire to make this moment in your life truly magical. It's that father with the tears in his eyes picking out diamond earrings for his daughter's sweet 16. It's that pure delight when the young couple finds the perfect ring to start their journey. And it's the feeling of pride the older gentleman feels when he chooses that anniversary band that celebrates a lifetime of love. At Diamonds Direct, it's not about a transaction, it's about a relationship. It's not about making a sale, it's about creating a memory. It's not about the ring, it's about his pride and her joy. This is our purpose, our cause, our mission, our very essence, to help you create your special moment, to be a part of the happiest time in your life. We are humbled and blessed, honored, and privileged to have the opportunity. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
You forget something?
Yeah, listen, I'm not going to be able to pick up Braden tonight after practice.
Oh, did something come up at work?
Nah, not even going to make it in today.
Why? What's going on?
Well, I'm coming up on some construction in about a quarter mile. I've already started ignoring the signs. In a minute, I'll force my way through traffic while texting. I'll pull the wheel a little too far and drive right through the barrels where I'm going to hit a few workers. One of them is going to get killed, so then I'm going to be arrested and charged with vehicular manslaughter.
No one plans on having an accident, but you can plan to avoid one. Read the signs. Slow down. Stay alert.
This is Ray Hobbs, business manager of Labor's Local 741. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the cone zone. Slow down, save a life. We're all in this together.
A message from Indiana's District Council of Laborers International Union of North America and affiliated locals. Marian University Preparatory School is a faith-based online private school currently enrolling grades 6 to 9. Financial aid is available. Visit k12.com/Marian, k12.com/MARIAN.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Who done it? I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. A car bombing in Russia. Fox's Tanya J. Powers.
Russia's top counterintelligence agency, the Federal Security Service, or FSB, is pointing the finger at Ukrainian spies for organizing the death of Daria Dugina in Saturday night's car bombing. Dugina is the daughter of Alexander Dugin, a philosopher, writer, and political theorist who's been described as Putin's brain. Dugina was killed when an explosive planted in her SUV exploded while she was driving. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
A new poll shows a majority of American voters believe investigations into former President Trump's possible wrongdoing should go on. The poll was conducted after the FBI searched Trump's South Florida home and recovered classified documents. It also shows most voters believe that the country is headed in the wrong direction. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
So Dr. Fauci has announced that he will step down from his post as director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. He's also stepping down as the president's chief medical advisor. This is going to happen in December. This is a breaking and developing story, which we'll get into more tomorrow, I'm sure. But
so Fauci is the most, and like I said, we'll get into it more in depth tomorrow, but Fauci is the most government thing ever because he's been there since the earth was young.
For 50 years.
And there were really two defining crises.
Mm-hmm.
Crisis.
Multiple
There was
crises.
more than one crisis in his tenure. Crisis 1 was AIDS and HIV, and crisis 2 was COVID. And on either of those, 40 years apart, would you say that in any shape, form, or fashion,
did he get an A+?
No. Did he pass?
Yeah,
no. And not only did he not pass, but in the case of AIDS and HIV, he was wrong, and his wrongness probably led to a whole bunch of people needlessly dying because he was obsessed with focusing on what? A vaccine, when he was told repeatedly by numerous people, hey, you really need to be focusing on therapeutics. Help people learn to manage this illness and lead a quality of life. What has happened over the past 20 years? The shift has focused on AIDS and HIV to therapeutics and people living a quality of life. And now many people can live long, effective, normal lives because of that.
Yeah.
Fauci was wrong. For 20 years, the dude was wrong, and a whole bunch of people needlessly died because he shuffled his feet and was focused on a vaccine. What has happened with COVID?
Same thing.
Same thing. The vaccine is crap for the most part. It has minimal, if any, impact on when you get COVID. Certainly the length of it is complete crap. You have no idea what injecting boosters and doses and everything else every 6 months into somebody's body is going to do to them to the long term. This guy's a failure. He's a fraud. It sucks that he was there for as long as he was. And hopefully, if the Republicans win the House, they will not just let the fact that he has sauntered on out the door, and don't mistake yourself on the timing of this being a coincidence. They will make this guy pay.
It's interesting. He said, I will be leaving these positions in December to pursue the next chapter of my career. No, dude, retire. Move on. Biden praised him, of course, called him a dedicated public servant.
Yeah, so we'll get into this more a little bit later on in tomorrow's show, but the news breaking, so we definitely wanted to touch on that.
Yeah, you're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC, and Dennis Rodman. You know this guy, tattooed NBA legend.
The Worm.
He said he got permission to go to Russia to seek the release of WNBA star Brittany Griner. Of course, Griner was sentenced to 9 years in prison, in a Russian prison, on drug charges. And let's send in Dennis Rodman to get her out.
Okay, so here is my question when he says he got permission. From whom?
From who?
Because here is, Fox News has the story. Here is the official level 4 travel advisory from the State Department when it comes to Americans going to Russia, okay?
Yeah.
And we have seen, based on what happened to Brittany Griner and the other Marine who is still sitting in a jail cell as well that nobody ever talks about. Why? Quote, do not travel to Russia due to the unprovoked and unjustified invasion of Ukraine by the Russian military forces, the potential for harassment against U.S. citizens by Russian government security officials, the singling out of U.S. citizens in Russia by Russian government security officials, including for detention, the arbitrary enforcement of local law, limited flights into and out of Russia, the embassy's limited ability to assist U.S. citizens in Russia, COVID-19 related restrictions, and terrorism. Quote, U.S. citizens residing or traveling in Russia should depart Russia immediately, exercise increased caution due to wrongful detentions.
They also go on to say that U.S. credit card and debit cards no longer work in Russia. It's hard to transfer funds. There's cash shortages reported in Russia and limited commercial flights. So he's going, if he goes, Dennis Rodman goes, this is at your own risk.
I would love to know who gave you permission.
The State Department said to Fox News Digital on Sunday, the agency was aware of reports of his intended travel. They knew. They're sending him. They're hoping. I mean, he got prisoners out of North Korea a few years ago, right? They can't do it. Maybe the Worm can.
Hey, good luck, man. The original Dennis Rodman shoes are still the coolest pair of shoes I ever owned, by the way.
Really?
Oh, they tied up on the side. They were awesome. 1997. I was styling and profiling in the 7th grade, Casey.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC, and let's talk about Mike Pence. He was in Iowa again. This is his 4th visit to Iowa. Laying the groundwork, don't you think, for a presidential run?
Sure. I have long said there are two things that would make me incredibly happy, and I'm not sure how they could both happen, but maybe that Mike Pence and or Liz Cheney would have to stand on a stage with Donald Trump and debate.
They may both get their chance.
Well, that would make me doubly happy. But I did want to point out part of this little speech Pence gave the other day. This was not at the Iowa State Fair, I don't believe, but he was, and this is what Republicans do, okay? So we're going to play this, and we're going to talk about Mike Pence's voting record in Congress, and we're going to talk about the voting record of people that he props up. He's out lamenting the spending, and he's lamenting the national debt, and he's lamenting all that the Democrats have added in the past year and a half to the national debt and its role in inflation. So let's take a listen.
I think in a very real sense they poured gasoline on a raging fire. It's burning down the American economy. And truthfully, they'll not only not defeat inflation, but likely, just like the $1.9 trillion COVID bill that they passed in the early months of this administration, it's very likely another near $1 trillion in spending will once again reignite a growth in inflation in this country to the hardship of America.
So, and Mike Pence is a person who is dependent upon sheep to lap up what he spills on the floor. That's how it operates. Because Mike Pence there, we all heard it, laments the $1.9 trillion COVID spending bill. Great. Zero problem with that. 100% on board. However, just the year before, Mike Pence had been championing more than $5 trillion in COVID-related spending. So I guess, Casey, we're led to believe that in Mike Pence and Todd Young's world, because Todd Young parrots the same thing. These two clearly went, the old Duke of Spendingburg and Mike Pence clearly went to the same school of parroting political refinery school, because they are saying the same thing. When we do it, well, that doesn't add to inflation. When we do it, well, that doesn't matter. That's not a part of what's going on in this country. But when the Democrats do it, well, the country's on fire. Well, the country's on fire because you did it and they did it. And these people's cowardly unwillingness to take ownership and their attempt to gaslight society is gross. When people say, oh, Mike Pence, what a great guy. That's not great. There's nothing great about failing to own your role in this. Mike Pence, every year he was in Congress, voted to add, I'm sure when you add it all up, trillions of dollars to our national debt. Mike Pence was never afraid to spend other people's money. He was never afraid, or his wife was never afraid to spend other people's money when they were governor. By the way, if they'd like to have a conversation about that, more than happy to. Highly fraudulent. They are dependent upon people who lap up the things they throw on the floor like sheep, because it all falls apart when you actually start talking about it. How is it possible to say, well, that $1.9 trillion Democrat COVID bill, well, that put the economy on fire. But the $5 trillion plus that we did, well,
no biggie.
That doesn't matter.
It's do as I say, not as I do.
And we talk about this all the time. I am more than happy to have a conversation with someone I vehemently agree with, who is going to be honest and genuine in what they've done and what they believe. This is disgustingly hypocritical behavior by people like Mike Pence and Todd Young to say word one about debts, about deficits, about inflation, because they caused it.
Well, Mike Pence used to sit right there in that chair. And
our ratings are a lot better than his was.
It's really interesting that over the past week to 10 days, it's almost like they've had a chance to listen to you, Rob Kendall.
No, they don't listen to me.
Because
well, they put the pen they put the pen in the doll maybe while they're listening to me.
But over the past week to 10 days, both of them, Todd Young and Mike Pence, have been saying how we're spending too much money, spending inflation. Where have they been? This is like a new epiphany for them. A recent one.
Well, they are dependent upon, because they gaslight society, and
there's an election coming
exactly,
up too.
And they are dependent upon people kneeling at that altar of Republican Party politics. Here's the only question that matters to Mike Pence: he can go to whatever state fair he wants to go to. He can give whatever speech he wants to give. He can fundraise whatever he wants to do. Eventually, he's going to have to stand on a stage and answer the question. And this is the only question that matters. And the people who fill his head with delusional bullcrap that, oh, you can be president, it was your destiny, and whatever else. The only question that matters. And they won't answer it because I've asked his people this many times and they get hyper offended and accuse me of being a bad guy. did Joe Biden get 81 million legal votes? And in a very weird way, I would have a lot more respect for Mike Pence if he says, yes, absolutely, he did. And that's why I certified the election.
Right.
Okay, we're done here, but you're obviously done here. But then the question becomes, if the answer's no,
why'd you certify it?
Why did you certify the election? And why do you say such horrific things about people and act like they're, they're insurrectionists. Oh, they're people who don't respect democracy. Oh, these people are out of control. Who say, well, then why did you certify an election that you don't believe the guy got 81 million legal votes? It's a yes or no question. Do you believe Joe Biden got 81 million legal votes? If the answer is yes, then you did what you thought was right and we're done here, and there's no way you're going to be elected president. And if the answer is no, why did you certify the election? Why do you act like people are out of control or lunatics or the fringe of society who are really upset that you certified an election that you don't believe was accurate?
Pence said that he would consider testifying before the J6 panel if he was asked to, by the way.
Oh, I'm sure he would.
He would like that opportunity. Liz Cheney would like that opportunity to get him on the stand. And let's talk about Liz Cheney just a little bit more. She said more than a year ago that she would do whatever it takes to keep Donald Trump from getting back into the White House.
Imagine if you're a U.S. congressperson and your whole goal in life is not, how do I help my constituents? How do I work on public policy that's better for them? Your whole miserable goal, because you're such a pathetic person, is how do I get even for the guy who spoke bad about my daddy and make sure he's not the president anymore? So she was on some show over the weekend. I can't remember what, she was on a whole bunch of them. And she spoke about her potential run for president. Take a listen.
So you've said you're going to think about running for president. Would you be running to send a message, or would you be running to win?
No, look, you run for president because you believe you would be the best candidate, because you believe you'd be the best president of the United States. And so any decision that I make about doing something that significant and that serious would be with the intention of winning, and because I think I would be the best candidate.
Would your path be inside the Republican Party or outside the Republican Party?
I haven't made any specific decisions or plans about that at this point.
So running as an independent is a possibility. It's one of the things you're thinking
I'm
about.
not going to go down that path anymore in terms of speculating.
It sounds like the RNC is already trying to figure out ways to keep you out. There's this idea that to get in any debate, you have to promise that you would support the eventual nominee. I mean, that's obviously not going to happen. You're not going to do that.
I can understand why they would not want me on a debate stage with Donald Trump. And I would imagine Donald Trump isn't too interested in that either.
Why do they placate her?
Do you think Donald Trump is afraid of her? And here's the question. If Cheney runs as an independent whatever, she's going to have to try and get Democrat votes, right? So that means she's going to have to move away from her conservative views on abortion and the economy. So that means she's going to try to get into power on a lie. Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Good morning.
Hammer and Nigel show, 3 o'clock this afternoon. The biggest stories of the day, and Guy Relford joins us in studio. 93 WIBC.
Have you ever thought about what you flush and how it affects your plumbing? I'm serious. My friend Larry at Whole Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing told me their team of plumbers work on all kinds of stuff that gets flushed. Here's a little list. Chewing gum, don't flush it. Hair doesn't dissolve. Dental floss, not biodegradable. Q-tips, cotton balls clump together and they stop up your pumps. Tissues and paper towels, again, they don't dissolve. So what do you do if you have a stopped up toilet? Trust your flush to us. Whole Wall Heating and Air, 255-4328 or wholewallheatingandair.com.
Don't miss the Colts kickoff concert at Lucas Oil Stadium on September 9th from 7 to 10 p.m. This is a one-of-a-kind celebration of football and music with the Jim Irsay Collection and the Jim Irsay Band. Experience the world's greatest guitar collection, presidential artifacts, sports memorabilia from Jackie Robinson, Muhammad Ali, and much more. And for the first time ever, Colts fans will get to see up close historic Colts memorabilia from Peyton Manning, Tony Dungy, Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, and more. The evening will be topped off with a free concert by the all-star Jim Irsay Band, featuring special guests and Wilson of Heart. And the legendary Buddy Guy.
I'm right, I got the blues.
That's one night only with the Jim Irsay Collection and the Jim Irsay Band. Friday, September 9th, 7 to 10 p.m. at Lucas Oil Stadium. Get your free ticket at JimIrsayCollection.com.
Here's Terry Stacy to tell you what's going on with WIBC.
The Home and Garden Show is on the road again, and we're heading back to Sullivan Hardware and Garden at 71st and Keystone. Live every Saturday starting at 9. Be sure to tune in to Pat, Denny, and the gang on 93 WIBC. Follow WIBC on your favorite social media channels to stay up to date on breaking news, traffic updates, and weather. Find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Grab more info online at WIBC.com.
The 9th Annual Indy Labor Fest is September 3rd on Monument Circle, an admission-free street festival with a chance to learn about career opportunities. Hosted by the labor unions of Central Indiana.
Representative Jim Lucas facing criticism over his deleted social media post that featured a Nazi quote.
Yeah, and we talked about this on Friday that, this guy is just the worst of everything because he spends all this time screwing around on Facebook, lamenting the ills of government, at the same time voting to fully fund many of those ills of government and raising taxes and defending raising taxes. And it's this whole thing. It's the same thing we talked about with the sheep with Mike Pence. He just says the stuff and assumes because the voters are apathetic and largely uninvolved that they'll just lap up whatever he throws at them. And sorry, not going to do that with me. I mean, the guy spends more time, if he spent as much time actually trying to get stuff done as he does screwing around on Facebook going, well, someone should do something about this.
You are the someone.
It's totally disingenuous. And I think the worst part about it is the guy keeps putting his foot in his mouth and keeps saying highly offensive things because, well, if you just screw around on Facebook all day and keep posting stuff, you're bound to say some things if you're a moron like Jim Lucas. And he had to delete his account once before, thought he'd learned his lesson, came back, did it again with this Nazi quote that he not only put up, Casey, he made it his profile photo. A Nazi's quote. He made his profile photo. So in the interest of trying to make Jim as miserable as possible, and maybe we'll cost him a few votes in the process. Look, he's going to win because he has an overwhelming Republican advantage. We thought we'd do our part, and, well, we talked earlier today with his opponent, the Democrat Chad Harmon. Take a listen. How do you transition from saying, look, this guy did something egregious again, which he has a track record of. He's been reelected despite doing egregious things. So how do you transition that from saying, look, he did it again, to saying, hey, there's a whole bunch of Republicans who are probably going to have to vote for me if I'm going to win. How do you get them away from the ideology and say, look, I'm just a better person to represent you?
Yeah, I mean, state representatives, should have some, dignity, respect for the office, respect for the constituents. And, I just don't feel like any of those things are being, represented through the current representative. So, and I think you just kind of talk to people about, the stuff that matters to them. Nobody, really wants to be talking about Nazis right now. You want to be talking about, price of gas and, how am I going to afford my medicine? And what about my kids' school and their teachers? And, what about mental health and addiction? There's so many other important things that people want to be talking about. So, it's really, this is kind of opening the door more to people even, being willing to listen to me just because they don't want what we've got, but they don't necessarily want to vote for a Democrat, but, they need to find some in-between land there, and I think that's where I meet him at.
Chad Harmon's on the line, and Chad is running to be a state rep. And Chad, on your website, Harmon for Indiana, you said the challenge is that real Indiana is not being well represented in Indianapolis right now. So if you're the guy, if you end up winning the election, what issues are important to you that you would like Indianapolis to address, the General Assembly?
Yeah, my mental health and addiction is a big issue for me, making sure that, especially in the rural areas down here and around the rest of the state, but, there's a real recovery desert as far as detox and, sober living and all the things that are required to get your life back on track and, reducing some of the stigma of mental health, and then also a big issue that I'm trying to focus on is just rebuilding rural communities and small businesses, trying to revitalize and use some, empty buildings, empty spaces, get this, small town Indiana back to the levels of pride that I had when I was a kid. So.
Chad Harmon's our guest. Couple minutes left with him. He's running in House District 69. That's against Jim Lucas. All right, so what should Lucas do? He went to the Holocaust Museum, but he's got a track record of this, right? A couple years ago, he deletes his account, comes back, seems to be a normal human being for a couple weeks, and then is right back to it again. What should Lucas do? Should he resign? Should he issue another apology? What should Jim Lucas do to make himself whole with his constituents, or can he make himself whole with his constituents?
Well, when he went to the museum, down in Terre Haute, I was talking to a bunch of people, and, I was glad that he went. I was hoping that he would go and maybe learn some stuff and stop, offending people. But, like the first thing, bright and early the next morning, he said, history is now a trigger, so he's immediately back at it. The director down there at the museum says he never apologized. He's doing it because, he thinks he's teaching us the history lesson, right? And I think, from his own words in the paper, that he doesn't understand why a Nazi quote would offend people. I don't think that, I want somebody who doesn't understand why a Nazi quote would offend people teaching me history. I don't, that's not his job, even in real life or, as a representative. So, I just think that he needs to focus on the job, maybe say sorry. I think in a perfect world he would resign and we could get some respect back in the district, yeah.
For more information, go to harmonforindiana.com to learn more about Chad Harmon. He is running for House Rep in the 69th District. Well, that's going to do it for us today. Excellent job, as always, Rob Kendall. You did all right today, too, Kevin. And we've got Tony Katz up next on 93 WIBC. Thanks for being here, and we're going to count on you to be here again tomorrow.
One of the best things that's happened here in Indy over the past year is the arrival of QC Kinetics. Tony Katz here. QC Kinetics is giving relief every day to folks here with chronic joint pain using the latest advances in regenerative medicine. They harness the power of your own body's healing